Welcome to today's webinar on this near billion-dollar industry that is being reinvented in front of our very eyes. And I'm going to show you how you can totally cash in on it. Now, in internet marketing, tell me if you've ever heard this cliche before. It's old, tired, and true cliche that says content is what? Content is king. Content is king. Content is king, you hear. Well, what does that even mean? I'm going to tell you content does hold place in the court of internet marketing, so to speak. That is not king. I'm going to declare for you and the rest of the world today what is king, what is the great equalizer that you can take on. So even if you have less than zero experience, you can still tap into what I call the biggest chunk of for grabs profit that exists on the internet right now. How's that for a webinar? I'm going to show you today on this webinar in all of its glory. I'm going to lay it bare, the specific approach that I think you can use and meet with massive success and massive profit quickly, even if what? Even if you've never created or sold something online before. Or even if you're all thumbs when it comes to the technical thingamajigs on the internet, or even if you think you can drive little to no traffic, or if you actually can drive little or no traffic to a website, web page, or web anything, right? I think this will work for you even if you have trouble taking action, whatever that means, or if you fancy yourself as somebody who gets easily overwhelmed. I believe that this is going to work for you regardless of what topic you choose, what industry you're in, whether you have existing business experience or not, or an existing business or not, whether you even have a website or don't have a website. And I believe that this can fit into any budget and any time restrictions that you may face. What I'm going to reveal here to you today is the approach that has created these 836 honest and unedited self-reported customer results, which I invite you to pour through on your own time. And if you do, you will be able to spot result after result like these, like 47K in a few short weeks, or 13K, or 23,964, or 9,250, or 6,000, or 10,500, or 83,500 so far, 21K, 3,900 just starting, 30,000 cash in the door with more expected to come on the way. 180,000 CAD, I think that's Canadian. Maybe it's some sort of other type of dollar, I don't know. Freaking 9,000 here by Joyce, not just 9,000, that's freaking 9,000. 2,700 in a day, 7K in 5 weeks, 15K, 120K, 8K, 31,000, 50,000, 7,400, 10,000 without a product? What? What's that all about? 90,000. $18,988, $11,770, 8,000 AUD. So CUD, CAD, AUD, is that Australian dollars? I think so. Minimum 24K per year, 8,827, 39,950, at least 30K. Whew. I'm already sweating and we just started. You see, content is not king. It's the creation of a certain kind of experience that is king. And if you know the right approach, you can immediately engineer an experiential offering, an offering that will beat the pants off these old, crusty, guru on the top of the mountain types of products that litter the internet and clog up our collective email inboxes. Now, these experience products that I'm going to be talking about, right now, they're in short supply. They're actually more needed than ever because $1 billion a day is spent on information products, courses, and trainings, not on experience products, but on information products. And most people have little to nothing to show for that. Maybe you're one of them. If so, we will fix this. Today, I'm asking you to answer the call of the experience formula. And if you are up for the task, then I promise you good fortune in your near future. And that good fortune will be yours to claim, even if you think you're someone who doesn't have anything worthwhile to share, or even if you think you're someone who's only in it for the money and you don't really care about helping humanity or whatever other specific thing that you are considering other than, I just need money in my pocket right now. I think this is going to work for you whether you believe in this Zig Ziglar quote or not, this one that says you can have everything you want if you help enough others get what they want. I think this will still work for you regardless of how you feel about that. Brand new, seasoned, vet, it matters not, coach, consultant, corporate, small business, plain old opportunist, ready to follow follow a plan, a path that makes sense to you, then you are on the best webinar right now that you could hope to be on. And I am your fearless leader. My name is Jason Fladlien, and I have to confess, I'm an addict. My addiction is in finding and uncovering the best ways to help people make money online, to make things more expensive to not buy than it is to invest in them, and then to report my findings to folks like you who are not okay with settling for anything less than your financial independence. And my start was as humble as any. I had no money. I had a lot of desire, though, and that's where I found myself. It's 2007. I'm living in this tiny 400-ish, probably less square foot shed in Little Coralville, Iowa. And that's where I got my first taste of internet success, when I made a whopping $3.58. Could practically retire on it, right? Well, no, not really. The result in itself, nothing to write home about. But I will tell you the experience from the results was life-changing, because this experience, I could sum it up to you in 3 words. I got this. That was the experience. I got this. If you haven't had that experience yet, I want to give you that experience, because once you have that, everything changes. When you experience the I got this feeling, which if I can be so bold, I'm going to assume a lot of you have never felt that way when it came to making money online in your life, that I got this. Well, I'm telling you, once you experience that, it's like flipping a light switch. Where there was dark, there's now light, and now you know you can succeed. It's not a question of if, only a question of when. And like that single snowflake that triggers the avalanche, because that's all it takes, I went from the $4 product sale that I made in 13 months to a 6-figure earner, and then a year after that, a millionaire, and then not too long after that, a multimillionaire. And in some places, like when they write articles about me, they even call me the $100 million man, because that's the amount of sales success that I've achieved online. The very platform that we're on, Zoom, I'm the only internet marketer Zoom has brought in, which is a $100 billion plus company at this point, to train their customers and their staff on web-based marketing. And it's important you know this, because when you decide who you should listen to, who you should follow, there are a near endless supply of these information peddlers. They're promising you that if you buy their courses, buy their experience, buy their expertise, buy into their results, that maybe somehow, some way, by osmosis, some of it will rub off on you. To that I say, fat chance. Now, it's interesting, isn't it, that the self-education industry has exploded in the last 5 years. Now, I call it self-education sometimes. Sometimes I call it personal development. Sometimes I call it the information business, or info business for short. A lot of people refer to it as self-help or e-learning, or whatever tickles your fancy. The fact is, people are spending now nearly $1 billion a day online trying to improve some aspect of their life through education and information. And they're buying courses, they're buying trainings, they're buying programs, and they're buying it on things such as weight loss, parenting, real estate, dating, finances, business, pets, hobbies, fitness, spirituality, time management, productivity, corporate stuff, career development, organization, and hundreds, if not thousands, of other topics in between, including recently, I saw one on butterfly release ceremonies, believe it or not. Now, these products that these people are purchasing, they range from as little as these 99-cent Kindle ebooks to these $25,000 masterminds. And it doesn't matter the price point. The people who are buying this stuff, they all want the same thing. They want less pain, more pleasure. They buy products related to making money to get rid of the lack of funds and finances and the pain that is associated with that, and to hopefully have some pleasure and taste of the good life. They buy health products to get rid of the pain, both mental and physical, those issues, so they can enjoy a longer life and feel better in their own skin. And they buy things like relationship products to get rid of that conflict and turmoil and anger and abuse and loneliness, and hopefully replace it with harmony, connection, and intimacy. Whatever they're buying in hopes of a better tomorrow. That's what they want to experience. That's how they want to transform. And the results are in. There are no results practically whatsoever to speak of. The results of these products and the successes that they produce, it's not very good. You see, our Kindles are filled with ebooks that we purchase that we never finish. A lot of books we never even start. We buy them, but we don't even open them. Our computers, they contain these logins to these courses. We've paid for them. We may not log into the things we pay for, or if we do, we maybe get a module deep, maybe 2 or 3 modules in, but we never cross that finish line. We never complete the whole product, and much less put it to use in a way that makes our tomorrow better than our today. Can you relate to that? I can. I do it just as much as anybody does it. And it cuts twice. It hurts two different ways. First, it hurts if you're a consumer because you end up spending money on something that you then feel bad about when you don't use it. So you paid somebody money to feel bad about yourself. That's not a good strategy. It hurts. And if you want to put stuff out there, it also hurts you to know that few, if any, people will go through what you put out there, even if they pay for it. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of people have trouble producing and taking action and creating things, because it's hard to get motivated knowing that what you create is probably just going to collect digital dust, so to speak. But let's put a number on it. How few get through a course that they purchase? Let's run a number. And I want your honest feedback on this. Where do you think you're at on this? So let's say that 1,000 people buy a $2,000 course from you that you're selling. Well, first I want to say congrats to you. That's $2 million. It doesn't take much to make much in this industry. So kudos to you on that one. But here's the real question. How many of the 1,000 people who buy this $2,000 product on average finish the product? Percentage-wise, what would you guess that it is? And this is really good. And I am seeing all kinds of different percentage. I'm liking the really specific percentages, like 13% that I just saw come in. Now, most of you are getting this right, and I'm proud of you, because you ask a layperson on the street and they will not come close, because they might say half, maybe 500 out of 1,000. And it's like, nah, what about a quarter, 250 out of 1,000? Nah, I wish. Maybe 10%. Most of you were in that 10% range. I was looking at the chat. I was between 7 and 13%. Not even close, though. Statistically speaking, and I have the data to prove it, on a $2,000 product, if 1,000 people buy the course and started off on a $2,000 product, on average, across all niches, all different types of products and industries and topics, only 27 of the 1,000, or 2.7%, will complete what they start. Now, if you're really world-class and you stay up a little extra each night and you wake up a little earlier in the morning and you have a really juicy, really sexy, really timely topic, or maybe your course is shorter than normal, you can get to about 65 out of 1,000. Just as easy, though, as to screw it up, which a lot of people do, and they only get 15 out of 1,000. They're not even average. An average is 27 out of 1,000. Whew! What causes these bad results? Now, here's what people think causes these issues: laziness, procrastination, not enough willpower, whatever willpower is, right? Being stupid or lacking intelligence is, I guess, a nicer way to put it, or some other sort of negative character trait. And the problem with these is they all blame you, the customer. They all put the burden on your shoulders as if it's all your fault. But you know what? When something is this bad, where less than 3 out of 100 who spend serious money on a course manage to go through it, there's something more going on here. This can't be an individual problem. This is, in fact, what we call a systemic issue. The system itself is broken, because there's no way that 97% of people are below average intelligence and above average in laziness. That's mathematically impossible, that 97% of people can be below average on anything. The issue is in the whole industry itself, is in the whole system itself. So quit blaming yourself. It does you no good, nor does it help me help you. Instead, what I want you to do is get excited, because this is actually opportunity knocking on your door. Not just knocking on your door. Hell, I'm going to say it's knocking down your door, because there is a way to fix this. And by fixing this, you're going to win on 2 different levels. First level, you're going to win because you're going to be a better consumer. You're going to make better purchase decisions, and you're going to get more out of the things that you buy. And on the second level, you're going to be a better provider to consumers. You're going to be able to help other people. That's the game changer. But in order to appreciate level 2, in order to get to the second level, let's dig into level 1. Let me ask you this question. Go ahead and put it in the chat. How many courses in your lifetime have you bought information related that are $97 or more? So I'm talking things like ebooks or audio programs or video courses, even membership sites, or really anything else that relies on education or information to help you improve some area of your life. And you don't have to be exact, just give me a rough guess. And I'm seeing most people saying over 30. Now, some of you say 0. That's very interesting. Fascinating. 200, I'm seeing in some instances. I saw 300, I saw 10 plus, more than 12, too many to count, right? Interesting. We're all over the board, but the average person has probably bought on this webinar over 20 products in their lifetime. And I'm not just talking in one industry, I'm talking across the board, right? And that's very common. A lot of people who understand the power and the transformative effects of information done right, that's really smart for them to invest in themselves. Because I'll tell you, buying a car has never made anybody a millionaire, but buying the right course has made at least some people a millionaire. But let me ask you this. Of all those purchases that you made, those 20, 30, 40, 50, or 100 or more, how many of those times did you feel like you get your money's worth? Now, exclude the ones you bought from me, because we all know that's 100% of the time. But in general, when you buy a course from somebody, is it fair to say that it's unlikely you walk away at the end of the day feeling you got more than your money's worth? And we know the answer to that. It's a big fat no. Most of the time, most of the purchases, people feel like they got the short end of the stick. Even though people are still spending nearly $1 billion a day on these products, most of the time they're unhappy, but they keep holding out, hoping that somehow, some way, things are going to change while they do the same thing over and over again. Now, I have reached over 100,000 people in my decade-plus career, and I can tell you that most of the time, most people are dissatisfied with the things that they buy, the products, courses, and the programs. They don't feel like they got their money's worth, and that's a polite way of saying it. So my question to you is this. How do you make better purchasing decisions so you can spend 1/10 of the money that you spend on courses and yet get 10 times better results? How do you do that? How do you buy 1/10 the stuff and get 10 times the results? Interesting question, isn't it? Now, hold on a second. Quick sidebar. Let me address an elephant in the room. It may seem weird to you that a shovel seller such as myself is wanting you to buy less shovels on your quest to dig up gold. But hear me out. Listen, a large portion of my online fortune, it comes through repeat customers, because the existing customer is the easiest customer to help, and they're the ones that are the most likely, if they have a positive experience, to do business with you again. And so when I help people become successful, money actually flows to me in 3 different ways. And it will flow to you in 3 different ways as well. First, through existing customers, because if they're happy with you, they'll buy more from you and they'll buy at higher and higher prices. The hardest sell you can ever make is the first one. That's why so many people have trouble just making a sale or just getting started. Once you do it once, it is like a snowball. It will roll down the hill. The second way that this can serve me and serve you is when you actually deliver a result for a customer, you give them capacity to go further. So to put it another way, people who lose money have less of it to spend, even if it's with the people who they love to spend money with. And third and final, it's like birds of feather flocking together. Customers do that as well. The best marketing in the world is the easiest and the cheapest because it's free. It's called word of mouth, referral marketing. And if you can be remarkable to customers, they will refer others to you. And so, yes, I do want you to buy less overall programs. I just want you to buy more of the right kinds of programs because it's your results that I'm after. So how do you then avoid this 97.3% failure trap? This is a pitfall that captures even the smartest, brightest, even the most eager customers out there and traps them and prevents them from succeeding. How do we solve this problem? We solve it by using what's called the experience formula. And we're going to be examining each of these key parts of this experience formula today. We're going to be talking about finish lines. We're going to be talking about future selves. We're going to be talking about bird's eye views. And we're going to be talking about constant wins. I'm going to give you very specifics on how you can apply these, both as a consumer and as a producer. Now, using any one of these elements on their own in this experience formula will see quick and massive increase in your results and in your success. Now, if you can pair up a couple of them, oh my God. And if you can do them all, you're unstoppable. You want to be unstoppable? Yeah? Well, let's dive right in. Start at the top. Finish lines. Finish lines. Every product should have a finish line. And by finish line, what I mean by that is a very clear outcome that is defined very specifically, that has a time component, a measure of time attached to it. So you know either you did it or you didn't do it. Did you do it or did you not do it? That's a finish line. Did you cross it or did you not cross it? Now, finish lines are powerful for many reasons, but one of the reasons is when we cross a finish line, we feel like we've accomplished something. And no matter how small or inconsequential the finish line that we cross is, the science is very clear. The neuroscience is clear on this. Crossing these finish lines releases happy chemicals in the brain. Getting things done and checking things off and having something that is completed makes you feel good. And I can prove it many different ways, but here's one of the best ways. Candy Crush. This is one of the reasons why video games like Candy Crush become addictive, and they generate, for the company that created Candy Crush, $1 billion in plus of money. Because users are crossing finish lines in these products, these video games, all day long, constantly, over and over and over again, and sometimes a quite literal finish line, right? But the thing is, you can't win a race if it doesn't have a finish line. This is a great picture because it's supposed to be an inspiration, but it's the exact opposite. It's actually perfect, and they don't even realize it. There is no finish line on a brick wall. Perfect, because that's what happens when you don't have a finish line. You will run into a brick wall. You will not be able to progress without a finish line. So when consuming products that don't have clearly defined finish lines, which is every product on the internet practically, you can't win if there's no finish line. And because you can't win, it's painful to trudge through these trainings. And as a result, most people don't make it to the other side. And it doesn't matter how much they paid. Because why would you want to subject yourself to torture? Doesn't make sense. Okay? And this goes all the way to the top. So masterclass.com right now is the apple of every internet marketer's eye. And as an example, though, just think about this. This is how mainstream self-help and personal education has gotten. Masterclass has raised over $100 million in their last round of funding, and just in 2020 alone, that they're using to create their information product platform. And you may get scared when you hear that. You're like, how the hell can we compete with these people? I mean, they got freaking Serena Williams teaching people how to do tennis, arguably the greatest women's tennis player of all time. They got colorful personalities like Gordon Ramsay teaching you how to cook. And they have gold medalists like Simon Biles. But what I would bet a dollar to a dime against, your dollar, my dime, is that their course completion rates for masterclass.com are probably about 2.7%, probably even less, because these products have no finish lines. And they're too bland and they're too broad, by the way, too. This is one of the reasons they can't have a finish line, because there's too much to take in all at once. It's not just sipping from a fire hose, right? It's sipping from 10 fire hoses simultaneously. So if you don't have a finish line, you have no mission. You can't embark upon your mission of transformation. And a mission, for our purposes, let's define this, is where you're going, where you'll end up when you cross that finish line, and how long it takes you to get to that finish line. That is a mission, right? And have you ever seen any of the Mission Impossible movies? I haven't seen the ones with Tom Cruise in them, but I've seen the original, the OG. And that's where that famous phrase that comes from. You know the one, right? Your mission, if you choose to accept it. That's where this comes from. But imagine how bad these movies would have been if there was no really exciting mission other than go catch the bad guys. Or here's your mission, if you choose to accept it, save the world. And you have the next 27 years to do that. They would have been box office flops, right? You need way more specific types of missions and way more personalized types of finish lines. And one reason most info products don't have this is because people are like, hey, we're dealing with the human condition here. We're not dealing with scores or levels on a video game screen. So what do we do? What could a good mission be when going through a product? Well, let's try one on for size. Tell me how this one lands with you. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to design, market, and make $2,000 or a whole lot more from an experience product in 10 weeks or less so you can get off the marketing treadmill, make more sales, and have more impact. How does that feel for you? Does that resonate in any way, shape, or form? First of all, it's very clear. You have something to aspire to that is very, very concrete and direct. It's almost like a magnet pulling you towards it. But at the same time, there's a time frame. So you will know at the end you have something to shoot for. This makes it more like a video game in the sense of you have a score that you're playing with and you have an outcome that you're going to be focused on and achieving. Now compare that to this. How would you know when you've completed the mission of this product of Chris Hadfield teaching space exploration? You wouldn't. And that's so many products is they give you a fuzzy target. So who knows if you've ever hit it? The finish line doesn't exist and you don't even know it doesn't exist and you're running backwards. Now your mission when you go on these products or when you create these products, that's your call to adventure. That's exciting. And your mission accomplished is when you cross the finish line. That's when you know, mission accomplished. I have succeeded. I have achieved. The thing about defining missions and placing them onto products is they simplify everything. Because success is always simple. Success is the simplest thing you'll ever do. It's failing that is complex. Failing is when you overcomplicate things, right? So in the information business, what you take away, what you remove, the noise you silence, that's far more important than what you add in when it comes to transforming your life, or you give a kid a set of encyclopedias and he would be on his way. He wouldn't need anything more, right? So it's not what we add that makes a difference. Oftentimes, it is what we take away instead. And hopefully, this is my biggest hope, is that if you want to be a producer in this near $1 billion a day industry, you're going to fall in love with this less is more concept because it means that you don't have to spend very long to create these experience products. In fact, you don't want to. It won't help anybody. And you're going to not have to create an information product. You're going to focus on experience products instead and get your customers addicted in a positive sense to these products, meaning you're going to make more money and your products are going to be more magnetizing. They're going to be easier to draw your audience in. And I know that sounds hard to understand or grasp or even believe. How can I work 1/100th as hard, but make 5 or 10 or 20 times the amount of money and impact? It doesn't seem possible how we could cut the effort into half and then the half and then the half and get a result where before we couldn't get the result. So let me tell you a quick story that I think hopefully will prove this point to you. I haven't worked a real job for somebody else in forever. It's been about 14 years, but the last job that I worked before I got rich online was painting houses. And the thing about painting is you could paint a house if you wanted to with a brush. It would take you the longest and you would end up with the worst paint job because you'd put the least amount of paint on the house and it would be most likely to be uneven. Now you could use a roller instead, and a lot of people do. And it would save you time and it would come out better. It would be more even and you would get more paint on it. So it would not only look nicer, it would be more protective of the house as well, because that's what a paint job does. It protects and it's aesthetics too. Now, you're going to have to learn how to use a roller, but it doesn't take that long. A few minutes probably, and you're on your way. Now you're rolling up and down. But what's even better than a paintbrush? What's even better than a roller? The nicest and the best thing that you can do when painting a house is to use a sprayer. A sprayer will put on way more paint than a brush or a roller could and do so way quicker. Now, it's true. You're going to have to learn how to use a sprayer. And it can be a little complicated at first. But once you do, you will literally save years of effort and time and provide a vastly superior paint job. Much, much better using a sprayer. So this is how we get less effort in, more money, better results out. So information products are like the paintbrushes, and these experience products are like the sprayer machines. Now, what if it was harder for you not to create a product than it was for you to create a product? What would need to happen for that to occur to where not doing it became harder than actually just doing it? And better still, what if you could create these products that are addictive by design? They're ethically, positively addictive. what kind of advantage would that give you when it comes to making money online? And I know that sounds like a fairy tale. How can I make products addictive, Jason? That's not possible, especially if I've never done this before. Well, the answer is in your pocket, probably. For most of you, your answer is, at least if it's not in your pocket right now, it's usually in your pocket. And I'm talking, of course, about your phone. Now, you could take a kid who's been diagnosed with ADD, who can't sit still for a second in school and can't pay one lick of attention in normal circumstances, but you put the right app in front of him, and he can play for hours on end, uninterrupted, with the focus of a Zen monk. And let's be very frank about this. The way that most of these platforms create addiction is not healthy. Phone addiction, app addiction, video game addiction, they may very well be a plague upon our society, and they certainly can wreak havoc and they can wreak ruin in our daily lives. But if you think it's harder and harder and harder to make money online, then in one sense you're right, because it's way harder nowadays to get attention than it's ever been, because you're competing against these phone apps for attention, and you're competing against these video games and these social media platforms. So in that sense, absolutely, it has gotten more challenging for more folks to get off the ground and start making that first money online. I don't know if any of you saw this, The Social Dilemma. This is a Netflix movie that was recently released, where they took some of the creators of these addictive by design apps and platforms, and they sat down and they interviewed them. And it's obviously the worst kept secret now that these people have figured out how to exploit our brains and hijack the reward system of our mind, the things that release those happy chemicals. It's pretty clear at this point that they have figured out how to hijack that. And I'm not okay with that. In fact, it angers and upsets me most of the time. I'm trying to hold it in right now, because otherwise I might get a little too emotional here. I'm not okay with that, and I hope you're not okay with that either. And sometimes you have to fight fire with fire. Now, our fire that I'm going to give to you is going to be of the pure kind, and it's going to be of the light. But sometimes in order to take on the devil, you first must have to understand the devil and who he is. And what these apps and what these games and what these platforms, what they got right, that course creators and the information industry got wrong, it's striking the vast difference between what they got right and what all of us got wrong. Information products, first and foremost, they give you little to no positive feedback. In fact, they actually give you negative feedback, whether they're aware of it or not. It just is kind of built into the situation. Yet you hop on social media, and pretty soon you're getting likes here that pop up. You're getting these follows. You're getting these thumbs up. You get these little notifications that pop up in the bottom right-hand corner. You're getting these like badges with numbers on them, and you're getting these cool sound effects, and there's this vibrant colors, and there's this full sensory perception to heighten and engage your emotions. And it's easy to miss if you're not aware of it. Like you hop on a Facebook Live video and they have these literal real-time hearts fluttering and things popping up on the screen in real time. And you might not be aware of this, but that's creating what we call a positive feedback loop. You feel good about it. You want to do it more. You do it more. You feel good about it. It releases these feel-good chemicals in your brain like serotonin and dopamine and other fancy names. And before you know it, you're checking them all the time. You're looking in all the time on these things. They are addictive by design. The only problem with these addictions is they're short-term reward-based, okay? The only problem with these addictions is they solely benefit the platform's own agenda. They're not necessarily aligned with your own best interest. That's the biggest problem with these. Is somebody wins, but everybody else loses at that expense of that winner, which is not cool, okay? Now imagine instead if we were able to build positive addictions in, like eating healthier or feeling more relaxed or some other positive habit, even something more specific to an audience that you would like to serve. Now, how much better off would you be? And how much better off would everybody be, right? And how valuable would you be if you could harness this power to help others? See, it's the people who do this, money can't help but find its way into their pockets because of how valuable it is and how helpful it is. It's a light in an otherwise dark and dismal existence. But you take a game like Candy Crush, and you're getting these stars, and you're unlocking these treasure chests, and you're getting these rewards, and it's crazy. You could count in a 5-minute experience the hundreds of positive feedbacks that a platform like this is giving you. And if you get stuck, they will even offer to help you. They will shake one of those candies to suggest a move, so you never have to think necessarily about what to do next. This is constant positive feedback. This is how you can say to yourself, and tell me if you've ever done this, you say, I'm just going to play one more level. And 3 hours later, and many levels later, you're still telling yourself, I'm just going to do one more level, or I'm just going to check one more thing, or I'm just going to look for one more minute, or I'm just going to watch one more video on YouTube, or whatever the case may be. I'm just going to scroll just a little bit further. And then you go on and on and on. You get stuck in that loop. Happens to all of us. If you're not human, it might not happen to you. But if you're human, this is your brain's reward system getting hijacked. But that's just apps and games, I hear you say. You say, Jason, this has to be way too complicated to do with products. And it also has to be super sophisticated in order to pull this off in these companies, Jason. I happen to know for a fact that they hire behavioral scientists, and they have these data analytics to measure user experience, to create these designed addictions. And I hear you. I felt the same way when I first was exposed to this concept. And I'm glad I was wrong. Thank God I was wrong, okay? Now, more on that here in a second. But one of the other things that these apps do that we should emulate, besides positive reward feedback loops, simplification. The best apps are oftentimes the simplest. Tinder is very simple. You swipe left or you swipe right. You can do it with one hand. That's it. So these apps are designed in such a way because they know that studies have shown that if people look at an interface and can't figure out what to do within 4 seconds, they feel stupid and they want to leave as soon as possible. And so this is how these apps lure people in and get them sticky, so to speak, is because they make the first decision or they make the first action a no-brainer. So success with these games and these apps are obvious. You do this, you win. You do that, you win. And you don't just win. When you win, you get rewarded. And oftentimes you also get celebrated. It's like running a race where you cross the finish line and you have people cheering you on versus just running a race with no finish line and nobody cheers you on. Okay? Now let's compare that, though, to information products. Are there wins in there that are easy and obvious and laid out? Nah, not really. Now, do you feel like you're on a mission when you're going on these products? And do you know when you've accomplished that mission? And of course, no, it doesn't. I mean, it'd be great if every time you opened up an info product, you felt like you had succeeded at something and you had crossed some sort of finish line, and that you were celebrated as you went through the product. Every time you went through the product, there was some part that gets celebrated about you. But usually instead it feels like a lobotomy when you go through these products. Wouldn't you agree with me? It's more like a lobotomy than it is a celebration. You trudge through them because you want the outcome, but it's challenging, it's tedious, it's hard. And the proof is in the pudding. Even the top dogs in this business, like Masterclass, they get it all wrong. Simon Biles may, in fact, be a gold medal gymnast, and she may know more about gymnastic fundamentals than anybody on the planet, but not a single person's going to feel like mission accomplished after taking her Masterclass. Now, compare that to a course that uses the experience formula. This is Davina and Galen Dietrich, and this was their mission that they offered to their clientele. Here it is. Your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to market, sell, and deliver your first direct resin veneer smile transformation and make your course investment back in 12 weeks. Now, it's clear who this mission is for. It's not for you or me, most likely, unless you're a dentist, and not just any dentist, a dentist that sells whatever direct resin veneer smile transformations are. But whatever. The win is very clear. It's laid bare. The mission, you will know when you accomplish it, when you make your investment back in their product within 12 weeks. It's simple. That's when you know you can smash a mission accomplished button. And on the back of this experience mission, if you choose to accept it, type of experience product, they generated $47,413.46 with their first product that they ever put out there. And then they turned that product into a multi-six-figure-a-year business. And interestingly enough, if you look at this mission statement, it's not a real big claim, is it? just make your investment back within 12 weeks. Now, here's the funny thing is I started to really dive into all of this. Mission defining products, you actually make much smaller claims, but get much more buyers and get happier buyers. And you make more money all along the way, and you feel really good inside because you are tapping into the power of the mission. And so you don't have to make it up with hyperbole, and you don't have to make it up with exaggeration or promises that maybe are not necessarily obtainable. But the problem is many people see what I just showed you and they somehow think it doesn't apply to them. Like you might say to me, I don't know, you say, Jason, hey, listen, I teach people how to embark on an 18-year shamanic journey to obtain enlightenment. So this could not possibly, in any realm that I know of, work and apply for me, right? Well, that's Helmut for you right there. And his total transformation process that he actually teaches does take over a decade. But the funny thing is if you asked him a question like the following, you can make it work for him immediately. And here's the question. What could you offer that could be mission accomplished in 6 weeks? That's it. Not 18 years, not the total transformation process, just what can be done in 6 weeks. And as soon as he heard that, he came up with his mission statement for his product. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to receive through this 6-week shamanic initiation the 4 essential energies in gifts that every human needs to feel whole, loved, and on path. The gift of knowing your truth, the gift of connecting to your life energy, the gift of a quiet mind, and the gift of opening to the infinite. So this is an initiation into the shamanic journey. And you will be aware of these 4 essential energies within 6 weeks. Simple, right? Not a huge claim necessarily, doesn't need to be, but it's crystal clear and people are excited because they know what they're signing up for very clearly and explicitly, and then they're ready to go on that journey. There's their call to action, their call to adventure. And anyone going through his experience product, they know exactly where the finish line is and they know when they've crossed it. But does it actually work? Well, for Helmut, every person he emailed about his experience product bought it. In fact, he has the highest conversion rate I've ever seen, 120%. He out-converted 100% because some people referred it to their friends, and he made over $10,000 the very first time that he did this. And I would argue he helped more people get down further on the path that he promises than in any other possible way that he could have attempted to do it. Easier for him, better for his customers. Easier to sell and easier to succeed with. These are what experience products do. And I want you to tap into this. This is a wonderful disruptive approach because the industry is broken right now. Even though it's doing near $1 billion a day, the information industry, it's broken. And I want you to help fix it, disrupt it, because less than 1 out of 1,000 products do what I'm talking about here. They don't create experience. They create just information, not transformation. So there's a science to this. It's not that it's harder. It's just, it's too obvious for people. And so they step over it looking for something more complicated. So what is an experience product? I've been talking about these a lot. So let's get a definition out there. So here's my definition for you. An experience product is any course, any program, or even any one-to-one interaction that gets people to accept a mission with a clear finish line and a time frame attached to it. That's it. That is at its basis the difference between an information product and an experience product. Now, if you're into courses that don't define missions, you got to do it yourself. So even if you're buying products that don't understand this experience formula, which unfortunately is at least 99% of them, then you're going to have to go and define your own experience and know when your own finish line is crossed and know when your own mission accomplished has actually been accomplished. But ideally, you should buy into courses that already have their mission invitation crafted, as I've shown you already. And best of all, I would never recommend moving forward you dare create anything without first creating your own custom mission for your customer for that product. Seeing when you do this, this will happen in this amount of time. Once you're in the race, Now you know your goal is to cross the finish line of that race. So here's the bigger question, though. Maybe you've already thought about this. Which races should you run? It's hard to know which race. Sometimes the best way to win a race is not to run it at all. So which race should you start running? In other words, who is the future self you're working towards becoming? Who do you want to be when you cross that finish line? Who do you want to step into when you say mission accomplished? You should know your future self at the end of the journey, who you want to be before you even start your journey. Now listen, this is really important, what I'm about to say to you. If you want to achieve more success in the next 12 months than you have in the past 12 years, then what I'm going to ask you to do next is not optional. Here's what I say that you must do if you really want to make success inevitable. And that's define who you will be after you accomplish your mission of making money online. And it's pretty simple. This is the formula. When I achieve this mission, I will be blank. 1 to 2 sentences, no more. And I will feel blank. 1 to 2 sentences, no more. This is simple stuff. And that's why it works so damn well. Now, I don't want you to go into a product anymore. I want you to go on a mission. And I want you to know the mission is worth going on because you've defined who you will become when you complete that mission. And if you're looking to make money online, building these experiences into your offerings to let people know who their future self is going to be, regardless of what the offer is that you're making, to me, that is critical. That is vital to your success. Now, kids are playing games like Fortnite for hours and hours a day. And the creator, Epic Games, who made Fortnite, made over $1.8 billion with a B dollars in 2019. And the mission is very clear. Win the battle royale. And the future self, who will you be when you're the one person remaining out of the 100 people that start in the battle royale? And that is the person with the bragging rights that beat the other 99 people, the best. And that's why this mission accomplished future self is so clear and so compelling, and get kids that are having ADD and other issues and can't focus to play for hours on end and devote most of their waking lives to that platform. Now, I want you to compare that to these mission accomplished who you become future selves for these other products you see online, like these information products, like relationship products. They don't really define who you will become at the end of the product. It's unclear. And same thing with health products and financial products and any personal development. You get some fuzzy idea of some sort of better version of yourself, but you don't know what it looks like. You don't know what it feels like. And so therefore, of course, it never ends up being. It never happens. So this is why it's super easy to get big profitable wins with experience products, because you have a mission invitation that spells out exactly who that person will be when they cross the finish line. The more you tap into that, the easier it will be for people to find you, not you even having to go and find them. And this is what Tina Van Leuven did. Here's her mission, by the way. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is over the next 40 days, shift from believing money is a necessary evil to being a joyful blessing so you can actually set and achieve your money goal. That's at least the cost of this program, if not 2 to 10 times more. Are you noticing a pattern of these, by the way? It's very formulaic, which is why I like it. Very simple, very low key, very straightforward. But do you see how Tina is defining the future self in the mission statement? Who the person is now and who will they be at the end of the product. This makes it so much easier for people to enroll in and get into and get a result from. And all she did was add this future self language to her mission statement, and this one tactic shifted her sales from $1,500 per enrollment to $6,000 per enrollment. That is the difference. It's the little hinge that swings the big door. So if the mission invitation, it's the start of the race, and who you will become when you cross the finish line, that's your future self. If that's super clear, really the only thing left is the route of the race, what the path is going to be from start to finish. And we're going to call that the bird's eye view. So the bird can fly up and see the whole path. When we're on the path, we only see a couple feet in front of us. The bird sees the whole thing. So we'll call this the bird's eye view. Now, how most products are laid out reminds me of the story of the blind man and the elephant. I'm not sure if you've heard it. It's pretty popular. But the story goes like this. A group of blind men, they hear about this new thing discovered called the elephant. And they're blind, but they want to check it out and get a sense of what the elephant is and what it looks like and all that good stuff. And so they go down to the elephant. They start feeling it about. And the first one, he touches just the trunk of the elephant. And so he thinks the elephant is like a big, thick snake. And the second one, his hand lands on these big flappy Dumbo ears. And so he thinks the elephant is like a fan, like a hand fan. And the third one, he's touching around the legs. And so he thinks the elephant is similar to a tree trunk. And the last one, he gets poked by the tusk because that's where his hand lands. And so he thinks the elephant is a spear. And that's most people going through most products. And it's no wonder why they're struggling. How most products are structured makes it easy to miss the forest for the trees. And it's hard to keep an eye on the bigger picture when you're overwhelmed with all sorts of information that's assaulting you from all sorts of different directions. I'm sure I'm not the only one. Tell me if this has happened to you. You go to a seminar, and when it's over, you walk out stupefied. You can barely even remember your own name, much less having ever been there, or what was even said that day. You are the walking dead when it's over. Or maybe you're just like crammed through hours and hours of video training, and then you're done, you take a break. So you go out and you see your friend, and your friend says, what were you doing? You're like, I was studying and I was watching this cool video product that I bought. And they say, well, what were you watching? And you're like, you ever have that happen to you where you just flat out draw a blank after being hours upon hours immersed upon something? And that's likely because you weren't aware of where you were at, where you were going, and where you have been. You didn't have that bird's eye view to keep you on track the whole way through. Now let's compare that to an app that makes something like this impossible to happen for its users. The app is called Duolingo. A lot of you have probably used it before if you wanted to learn a new language because it's came out of nowhere and in short order has become the most popular language learning app on the internet. And it's worth about $700 million. And just like I want you to disrupt the information industry, they disrupted the language learning industry because the standard way of learning language is through these dictionaries, these phrase books, and all sorts of these memorizations and memory drills. And Duolingo instead, they create what's called experience escalation. They start with simple levels like a video game would, and they progress to slightly more difficult levels as you go through the journey. But you always know where you're at, where you're going, where you've been. And yes, this means a different approach than just a list of modules and titles on videos. Because what can happen, or what is most likely to happen, I should say, when somebody sets off on a new journey? I'll tell you what usually happens. At the starting line, they're all jacked up. You're all amped up. You're like, I'm going to go and I'm going to change the world. You get so pumped up. You're just ripped, snorting, raring, and ready to go, right? But as you move forward, from start to finish, something unexpected happens. You get whacked upside the head. So how do you keep moving forward when that initial excitement wears off? And how do you help others keep moving forward after reality sets in? And you do this with micro rewards. This is how you can get somebody so they don't have to rely on the vapor of excitement when they start off in their journey to propel them to the end of the finish line, because that only works in about 2% of people. See, this is why platforms like Facebook, this is what they get better than anyone else. If you open up Facebook within seconds, you're like, bing, 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 win, 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 notification, thing here, moving there, thing there. All of this is interacting with you and greeting with you. You're constantly winning. In a sense, your brain at least thinks you're winning when you're interacting with these platforms. And each win releases a feel-good chemical in your brain. You're micro-rewarded, micro-rewarded, micro-rewarded. And that's the secret sauce. That's how Facebook gets 1.79 billion people to check into their app daily. And I find that funny because most people I talk to, they don't even like Facebook. In fact, some of its most used users, they hate Facebook, but they keep going. They can't quit it. They're addicted because Facebook is hijacking the brain's reward system. Simple as that. Now imagine if you use some of this approach, but you did it with something that has a little bit more value than, say, what Facebook or Twitter or what Instagram is offering. Imagine if instead of having something that was only a second or two dopamine high as the payoff, imagine if you had something more valuable. Here's what I want. This is why I've been killing myself trying to get this into your hands and developing this training, because I want this. I want you to be sent out into the world to counteract the stickiness, the negative addiction that these apps are creating. And instead, I want you to replace it with enriching, rewarding alternatives. Now, you won't get everybody. Some people are fine with that. But you will get the people who want to be helped. You will get the people who are seeking. And they're seeking right now at nearly $1 billion a day in terms of their appetite. And that's why I'm sharing this with you today. That's what I'm getting out of this, is by helping, empowering others so we can swarm out there and create these positive, addictive experience products. And what do you get out of it? You get the rightful riches, deserving riches. See, if people are dumping billions of dollars into gaming apps and they're wasting time on mindless tasks that leave them no better off, then how much could you make when we take the playbooks from these sticky apps, games, and platforms and we use them for good? Bing, 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 win, win, win. That's what I want. Can you make it so damn near every time someone even barely interacts with you or barely interacts with your product, they get some sort of win? Seems challenging, seems like a noodle scratcher until you break it down. Because there's one simple thing that you can do. Give out XP. Just give out XP. He's like, Jason, what's XP? XP comes from the old ancient role-playing Dungeons and Dragon world, right? XP is short for experience points. And experience points are, the more you play the game, essentially, the more points you get. You get points because you play. Nothing more than that. So we can apply this directly to products. We can give out experience points. Why not? Watch one short video, get 1 XP. Complete the action that is asked of you at the end of the training, you get 2 more XP. If you want to get extra fancy, you can make it so when somebody physically checks off their task to claim their XP, now you're invoking that sense of touch. Click, that manipulation of a button. That makes it multisensory. That heightens the emotional experience. If you want to get fancier still, when somebody checks it off, go a cha-ching, or have some sort of sound effect fire off when they interact with that. I know it seems basic, right? I mean, XP and things like points and high scores, they are just fictitious numbers on a screen. So who cares about that? Well, you'd be surprised. No, I know some of you are not surprised, because right now you're recalling a time in your life when you did very silly things just to earn points that have no real bearing or effect on the world. Here's my own personal admission to this. It's a game called Roblox. So once upon a time, my children got me to play Roblox with them, and I was kind of cool because it was a way that I could be interactive with them and still keep an eye on them to make sure that they were safe online. So I started playing this video game with them called Roblox. And Roblox is so addictive that over half of kids under the age of 16 in the United States play it. Wow, that's addictive, okay? And one of the games inside Roblox that my kids turned me on to one day is this silly, stupid, dumb game called Speed City. And the basic premise of Speed City is the more steps you get, the faster your character can run. And the faster your character can run, guess what? The more steps you could get. And now you can use the steps that you have to buy things like power-ups, or you can actually pay real-world money instead to buy these power-ups, and they would multiply your steps. But what's the point of the game? It's to get more steps. That's it. Now, we played this game for hours, the kids and I did, multiple times. And we're putting all this effort into this game, not because it's going to help us in life, not because it's going to solve a pressing challenge or issue or thing that we have to face. We played it just so we can get enough steps to unlock new areas, like the beach, for example, here, where guess what? You go into the beach, and now you can collect these orbs, and you know what the orbs do? They give you more steps. Yes, that is the power that people will go to win fictitious points on games or on the internet. And most of us have an experience where we can say, oh yeah, that's me. So what if you could sprinkle some of that into your products? This means that every time a customer gains experience points, XP, they win. XP equals winning. You could set it up so every single time somebody logs in, they have an opportunity to win in very clear ways, very trackable ways with numbers. And here's what I love about this, because if you get really smart with it, you can make the big XP come from the action, not from the information. So this is why you get 1 XP for watching the short video. It's not a long video. And you get 2 XP for doing the basic task that's asked of you at the end of the video. Are you getting this yet? Is this really getting you excited? I don't know. Is it just me? Am I the only one? Am I like an alien? This gets me excited to the moon. My heart's racing right now. And you want to know why? Because this is so simple, yet it will have such a profound result, which will make you more money. And by the way, this also makes creating your products stupid easy, because you'll want to make them very short chunks, very simple slices. You'll want to make it basic, sweet, and to the point, because you want to give your customers the opportunity to gain as much experience as possible. So this becomes a godsend to you for actually structuring and creating and publishing these things. Did you hear that? After each tiny chunk, they check it off, they collect the XP, boom, sound effect. Content has never been easier for you to create, has never been more fun for you to create, and your customers are going to go bananas loving every second of the experience that they're getting as they're racking up experience points. And most important to me is you can measure this. This is something you can measure. It's not, I think that my people are doing good, or it's not, I think I'm making progress if I'm going through this. It's you either know or you don't know. So in my late 20s, I sort of let my health slide. And I put on a few more pounds than I like. This is by far not the worst picture I could have found, but I didn't like my picture taken because, you know, I got a little chunky. Finally, in my mid-30s, I came back and made it a priority, and I reclaimed a more healthy, more ideal body weight and body type. Not only was it healthier, I felt better when I looked in the mirror, right? And you know what changed everything? Not very complicated stuff. Some of you know I did a lot of yoga, and some of you know that I did some other things too that were really helpful, but that's not what changed it all. That wasn't the little hinge that swung the big door open. This was it. The big difference for me was I bought this pedometer here. I bought it on November 27th, 2015, and this changed my life more than anything. It simply told me how many steps a day I was taking. I don't know if you can see it, but I got one on right now. I finally upgraded it not too long ago. But when I was preparing this presentation, I went back and I pulled it up. And in March 2016, look at me. I'm crushing that stuff. From the 2nd to the 27th, I'm hitting my goal every single day. This was the switch that turned me from passive to active. And then all of the rest of it fell into place because I had momentum. This was the snowflake that triggered the avalanche. So I want you to take a look at Marisa Murgatroyd's experience product. Her last class that she ran that I had the numbers on, she had 690 students that went through it. And these students gained a total of 63,294 points. So you could literally say that Marisa produced 63,294 wins for her clientele. Now, even better, because we can measure this, the average customer claimed 92 experience points out of total of 117, actually, not 177, 117, that's a typo there. And I have one word to describe that. When the average person is claiming 92 out of 117, here's the word. It's a very, very, very highfalutin word. Insane. It's insane. And the results, of course, and the success stories, of course, of our customers reflected that, because the XP isn't the real win. The XP facilitates the real winning, such as Elaine at 13,000, or Ed at 23,000, or Devora at 9,250, or Carol at 6,000, or Daniel at 10,000 plus, or Joyce at 83,500, or Annie at 21,000, or Kat 3,900 just starting out, or Deborah at 30,000 cash in the door with a $160,000 contract attached to it, or Francois here at 180,000 Canada dollars, or Joyce with her freaking $9,000. Phyllis made 2,700 in a single day. Dominique, her story is near and dear to my heart, Not only is English not her first language, she had spent over $250,000 on info products without a single result. And now she's getting 7K in 5 weeks. Vicky's hitting 15K. Raglan's hitting 120K. And that wasn't even close to his mission. His mission was much lower to the ground than that. His mission accomplished. Totally cleared it by miles. Michelle, 8K. Nihal, 31,000 and not done yet. Patrick, he's projecting 50,000 in revenue, is actually more than that. Kat did 7,400 immediately. Mariko, 10,000 with no product yet. That's interesting. We can talk more about that in a bit. I think it's Gilla, $90,000. Dr. Barbara here, 18,988. Abby's over here at 11,770. Nicole totaling over 8,000 Australian. John, 24,000 per year off of one deal. Tracy, 91 people, $8,827. Ashby, 39,950. She's now adding on to her home. I like that. And Diane will land between 30,000 and 50,000. These are just a touch of the many, many, many results that I have seen firsthand from experienced products. This is what Marisa, who invented this formula, this is what she had to say. She said, I found that when customers know what they're doing, that's the mission, know why they're doing it, which is the future self, know how they're going to get there, which is the bird's eye view, and they are winning constantly along the way, then they keep going until they cross the finish line. And the result? It's easier to get customers to buy. It's easier to get them to buy again. It's easier to get referrals. And you can charge more because what you sell is worth more. For you and for me, I think the best part, though, is it's fun because you know what you're doing is actually offering something that is going to replace this old shelf help in the self-help business, right? Now, before Marisa figured out this experience formula, she was doing okay. She was merely selling information. And actually, she was doing a little bit better than okay with it because people, they love to buy info products, as this near $1 billion a day industry can attest to. But then she started developing the first 4 elements of the experience formula. And what took her years prior and massive traffic in 28 webinars, she was able to accomplish with almost no traffic, 1 webinar, and best of all, 15 times as many of her customers completed her product. That means there's 15 times way more potential for repeat business and referral business. So if you can't drive a lot of traffic right now, great. You don't need to. Just a tiny trickle and you're on your way. Want to have more impact with your customers so that they buy from you over and over and over and over again so you still don't have to drive any damn traffic? Fantastic. Just use the experience formula. And this is why Marisa has so many testimonials like these. Carol says, the Experience Product Masterclass is hand down the best program on the market. Lazette says, this is the best 2,000, I don't know if that's pounds or euros or what that sign is, that I've ever spent. Truly, here's our friend Dominique that says, this is the first time since 2012, and after spending $250,000 that I've actually completed a program and achieve the promise of the program. Michelle says, the best experience, most valuable and incredible implementation, the most over-the-moon happy fire host action-taking program I've ever taken, ever. This was the best business decision I have made despite all my fears and anxiety. And Susan says, this has been the most incredible investment I've ever made. I have 25 more of those, but I think you get the point. Now, you may be saying to yourself, I don't have the experience or knowledge that somebody like Marisa has. And to that, I say maybe. Perhaps, if I could just be frank with you for a second, if you wouldn't sell yourself so short, you might have more to show for it. But that's not here or there. My point is this. When you transform information products into experience products, you can teach literally the most basic, most fundamental, most obvious stuff and get massive results. Because the experience formula places the emphasis on transformation, not on information. But wherever you are, that's where you are. We all got to start somewhere. And no matter how successful somebody becomes, they all started in the same place with one single customer. My customer was a $4 customer, and they bought it on a product that only took 15 minutes to go through. So in that sense, it was easy to accomplish a mission. Now, Marisa's first result when she launched an info product, nothing. She shot blanks, zero, zilch, nada, zero, no money, no dollars, no cents. And you know what I say to that? Great, because you can only go up from there. Now, her second product did better, but barely. But more important than the total dollar figure was the experience, the feeling, the result. And the result was, I got this. Because once even $2,000 come in, you know once and for all you got this. Because if you can do it once, you can do it again and again and again. It's just never having done it before. That, my friend, is the scary part. And I feel you. I empathize with you. See, those who can just fearlessly go out there and take action without doubt or without hesitation, those people make up less than 2% of the population, and they are likely psychotic. All right? And while this cute slogans like feel the fear and do it anyway, they might sound good and they might make good fodder for Instagram, it does very little to actually help you take action, and it does next to nothing to help you become successful. And listen, if you could solve all your own problems, you wouldn't need me or anyone else. But you know how that's not how this works. We need each other. You need support, just like the 7 billion plus people on this planet who are out there do. And when you have support and you have accountability and you have the power that experienced products provide, all of a sudden you can do what seemed impossible. You can, and I know it. And Jennifer Holbis is case in point. So one of my biggest ahas about this experience formula is when I saw this email that Marisa had sent me. And this is Jennifer. She says, my biggest aha moment was when I received a personal email with an incentive to get caught up. I didn't jump 20 points for the t-shirt. I did it because someone cared that I was falling behind. This is where the dozens of my other courses would have ended for me. Thank you so much to nudge me to keep me going. So there's a way when you're tracking experience points where you can fire off automatically, hey, you're falling behind. If you do this, here's a victory for you. That's a micro reward. That's a win. You feeling what I'm saying here? Now, what was Jennifer's ultimate finish line result? Because of this one silly, simple 20-point XP journey to get a t-shirt, that one prompt led Jennifer to generating $100,000 during 10 weeks within the program of the Experience Masterclass, Experience Product Masterclass. And then she did it again shortly thereafter. So I want you to imagine there was probably a time in your life, and you're not going to like it when I tell you this, there was probably a time in your life when you were one measly little micro reward or prompt away from a 5-figure or 6-figure payday. You did almost everything right. Almost. This is what's powerful about this, though. If she didn't have XP, I don't know if this would have worked. And if she didn't have an incentive, which in this case is a measly t-shirt, I don't know if it would have worked. But these are the two little hinges that swung open the door to over $250,000. And when I started online, I started in 2007, which is the dinosaur years, right? You couldn't really do any of this stuff. The technology wasn't there. It was way too complicated. But nowadays, when Facebook and everybody else tracks every action you do, even the amount of times you blink your eyes, it's easy peasy to put this in place as long as you have the right tools. But even if you have to do this manually, would it be worth it? And the answer is, of course, if you love making money and you love helping others. But let's not let the tail wag the dog here. Your edge is an understanding that shifting from info products to experience products, that's how you cut through the noise online. That's how you do a lot with a little. That's how you can do so much less, create much, much less, and get much bigger profits and get much better customer results as a result. You see, we all have this internal conflict that we face. There's what we want to do, and then there's what we feel we have to do, the obligation, right? I want to eat chocolate cake for breakfast, but I feel I have to eat something healthier instead. You want to be able to make a ton of money online. You want to be able to help other people, but you don't want to have to do it by learning new stuff. But you feel like you have to constantly be learning new things if there's any hope for new results. And your customers, they want whatever you're promising them. but they often feel like they have to suffer in order to get that result. And as a result, the whole industry is broken. A near $1 billion a day are spent online on information products, but only 2.7% of people who buy those products complete them, and fewer still go on to do anything remarkable because of them. And even worse, everyone blames the customer for this, including the customer themselves. And I've even heard people who create these products and well-known gurus say stupid things like, well, if they really wanted it bad enough, then they would have figured out how to succeed. And to that I say, puh. Today is the last day I ever want you to experience any of that. Today is the last day that you will allow others in this world who you would otherwise could help experience this feeling of being less than capable, of being inadequate, of feeling like they're a failure. This is the last day for all of that, damn it. Because I know you can do this. I know you can use the experience formula to create a product with a mission, with the future self, with the bird's eye view, and that provides these constant micro rewards and wins for your customers. And how do I know this? Because you're going to be shown exactly how to do all this while you experience it firsthand yourself. See, experience is the best way to learn anything. And to learn the experience formula, you must experience it firsthand. So you can't give what you don't have. So we're going to give you the best experience possible, and then you can just copy that for your own products and your own customers. So you remember these results, like 47K in a few short weeks, 13K, 23K, 9,000, 6,000, 10,500, 83,000 plus, 21,000, 3,900 starting out, 30,000 in the door, 180,000 Canadian, freaking 9,000, 2,700 in a day, 7K in 5 weeks, 15K, 120K, 8K, 31K, 50K, 74K. $100, 10K without no product, 90K, 18,000, almost 19, 11,000 and some change, 8,000 Australian, 24K per year minimum, 8,824, at least 30K, 39,000, and on and on and on. These results and many more like them came through Marisa Murgatroyd's Experience Product Masterclass, or what we call EPM for short. Now, this is a program that she only does live once per year, and here is the mission for the Experience Product Masterclass. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to design, market, and make $2,000 or a whole lot more from an experience product. So you can get off the marketing treadmill, make more sales, and have more impact. Now, 2,000 might not seem like a whole lot until you realize how easy it is to repeat it. See, once you get this off the ground, you can't stop making money, even if you tried, because more of your customers will want to spend more with you and want to refer more to you. And your success when you take EPM is legally guaranteed, of course. Meaning if you don't make the 10K or the 2K, Marisa will pay you the difference out of pocket. So you end up with 2K, $2,000 that is. Let's give it the honor it deserves of saying it out loud completely, $2,000, no matter what. Now, you can only make these kind of guarantees if you have something as good as Marisa has with EPM, and when you can combine it with some killer, crazy bonuses. So first, let's take a look at what you get in EPM. Over 10 weeks, you're going to participate in what I call the world's most addictive experience product. What better way to know how to create experience products than to learn from the inventor and the master of the experience formula herself, Miss Marisa Murgatroyd. You're going to discover on week 1 in your light bulb moment how to choose your perfect experience product, how to know for sure it's a winner, and how to set it up so it can automatically start attracting customers for you. Then in weeks 2 and 3, where we nail your offer, you're going to figure out how to position your experience product so it's irresistible, how to create the right branding, the right message, the right name, and the right hook for your product, and how to get immediate social proof for your experience product so people will want to buy it even before it exists. Then on weeks 4 and 5, where we craft the perfect experience, as we're going to discover how to experienceify your content using Marisa's 10 core experiences, how you can guarantee you're creating something your customers will not just want, but that they'll fall head over heels in love with, and how you can actually get paid while you're creating your experience products. Then weeks 6 through 9, We're going to tap into the experience marketing essentials. Marisa is going to show you the 8 super simple experience marketing campaigns that you can just plug right into your business, turn the key, and be on your way. You're also going to receive the entire vault of her pre-written scripts, her emails, her webpage templates, her sales, her video scripts that you can take. You can customize them a little bit. You can customize them a lot, or you can just leave them as is. But now they're there for you to leverage. And these have literally generated millions for Marisa's EPM customers. And they include my favorite, the coveted Chatterbox campaign, which has rave reviews like these. Joyce says, chatterboxing to beyond mission goals. That's the 83,000. Jeff says, I just landed a big Chatterbox gig, which included all expenses paid trip. Linda is 3,500, and she did the informal Chatterbox campaign. And Pamela is bringing in immediately $2,500 from her Chatterbox campaign. And there's 106 different customers who are raving and writing about the Chatterbox campaign, just that one thing. Wow. Then on week 10, you're going to deliver the wow. Here's where we're going to start delivering your experience product. You're going to get hands-on help to apply the experience formula to all aspects of your product, just to guarantee that you create a wow experience from the first moment a customer comes into contact with your product. The whole experience product masterclass is delivered to you via Marisa's cutting-edge membership platform that she developed herself called Experienceify, which is the secret sauce for creating these amazing experiences. See, as you go through this program, you're going to be racking up XP. You're going to see yourself on leaderboards. You're going to feel the experientification at work for you firsthand. Now, I've created and I've promoted hundreds of products over the last decade, some costing over $25,000, and I have never, ever, swear on a stack of Bibles, I have never seen anything so well received and so easy and so fun and so rewarding to go through as the Experience Masterclass. And when you have so many customer success stories making tens of thousands of dollars or more the first time they apply it, then something like EPM, it should go for $10,000. And in fact, Marisa's rate for coaching for one day of her time is $20,000. However, for a very limited time, while EPM is open, you can get it for not 10, not 7,500, or even 5,000, although totally a good deal at that. Your investment to get started today can be as little as $397, and then 5 more monthly installments of the same. Or if you already know you're ready to go full in, you can take care of this all at once for $1997, and then get rewarded with an extra special bonus too. To sign up, it's very simple. Now go there and sign up before the timer hits 0, because that's when this offer does expire. Here's what's really cool. You're going to see a bunch of incredible, really powerful free bonuses that you'll also receive. What are these bonuses? Let me quickly walk you through them. Bonus number 1, you're going to get weekly group coaching. So you're going to have access to 10 weekly coaching sessions, 3 a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I call Mondays Marisa Mondays, meaning every Monday Marisa does a 90-minute group, what she calls a laser coaching call. So she invites you to her private Zoom, she takes questions, she coaches you, she provides powerful insights, and she calls this laser coaching because a laser only needs 5 watts of energy, which is barely anything, but because it's so specifically focused where the energy goes, it can cut through a diamond. And that's what Marisa does in these trainings. And this is why people like the French-Canadian superstar Dominique here, she found her mission on one of these laser coaching calls, and that propelled her to make $7,000 in 5 weeks. And Ed came out of one of these calls, and that's what led him to closing $23,964. And the church pastor here, Patrick, she helped him focus on the big issue, not the small stuff, and that helped him generate over $50,000 in revenue. So you're going to get coaching direct from Marisa on a group training on Zoom. You're going to get that for 10 straight weeks with EPM. You're also going to have access to Wisdom Wednesdays. These are 90-minute group coaching calls. They're done in smaller, more intimate pods, as they call them, and they're led by different experienced product success coaches that Marisa has trained throughout the years. Now, here's what's really cool about them. They are conducted at 6 different times during the day. So no matter where you're at in the world, and there's successful people all over the world doing EPM, you can find the one that perfectly fits in with your time zone. And these sessions are way more customized to be specifically focused focused on where you're at and where you're going with EPM. And then there's Implementation Friday. And these are 90-minute workshops also run by top elite coaches that have been with Marisa for quite some time, who know this process front and back. And they're going to help you put into action the specific tools, techniques, and technology that you're going to get access to inside of EPM. Important. If you attempted to attend each coaching session each week, you would spend 4.5 hours per week on group coaching calls. I don't want you to do that. Let's just be very clear. It's not expected you do that, nor is it recommended you do that, okay? It is merely there for you to attend as you need it, and know that it is always available to you. So you have different types of coaching week in and week out that you can access to help you whenever you need it, wherever you need it, as you go through EPM. Now, this type of coaching alone, it's worth way more than what your investment is to get started with EPM. As these highly trained and well-paid coaches, what to speak of Marisa herself, they've all been working on their coaching craft for years to help you succeed. So go ahead, go sign up right now. And when you do, you're also going to get bonus number 2. This is my second favorite bonus. And this, your very own private experience product success coach, dedicated to you. These coaches are amazing. And I know that because, again, I've went through all 860 plus testimonials of successful clients who've completed EPM. And the number of people who talk about how much their private coach helped them is staggering. Marisa has done a wonderful job of handpicking, paying for, and training up the very best coaches in the world on the experience formula to help guarantee your success. Now, how does your coach help you? How do you interact with your coach? Well, there's 3 main ways. First, you have unlimited access to your coach's personal email inbox. Shoot them an email anytime, day or night, and you'll get a personal response back within 48 hours. Here's my favorite way that the coach helps you. You get this document called the milestone tracking document when you sign up for EPM. And you're going to love this because this document, it will help you through the milestones to help you succeed. And you can enter your progress as you go through it and get rewarded for it and so on and so on. And you can also tag your coach. So along the way, as you're going through this, if you want to ask them for any feedback, or if you need help on making a key decision, whether it's like a product name, a price, or what your mission statement is, or any other element, you just tag them. And then they'll come in, and sometimes it's just good job, which is super valuable, that reinforcement that you're on the right track. Or if needed, they can provide suggestions or adjustments that might even make it easier or might even be more helpful for you and your success. So this private coaching is absolutely invaluable. You also, your Wisdom Wednesdays, those small, intimate group coaching pods, they're going to be conducted by your experienced product success coach. So this is perfect for you to pop on and get that live interactive feedback from your coach if you need it during the Wisdom Wednesday. So you can see this type of coaching in and of itself worth far more than the investment to get started for the Experience Product Masterclass. So go ahead, let's get you signed up right now so we can start rocking and rolling. Another bonus that you're going to discover when you sign up is called the Sales for Superheroes bonus. It's kind of a weird name, but that's not what matters. What matters is how much this bonus is going to help you because, again, I do not speak from theory. I speak from what I have seen the 800 plus EPM testimonials talk about. And they love Sales for Superheroes. You're going to be awestruck when you go through this. How many customers are raving about this training by just taking a simple conversation that you already know how to have and utilizing that to make more than your investment back in EPM, often with just one conversation with one person. Again, I have probably 40 testimonials that I've seen using the superhero Sales for Superheroes bonus, such as Holly says, 3,500 first one-on-one client, first sell 997. That's what Rachel says. Ayana, 12K for one and 10K plus a $3,000 payment for the others. They say things like the Sales for Superheroes script is totally responsible for these wins. I literally read from my video notes because I wasn't sure how to say it at all. And well, it works. After I joined EPM, just one use of the Sales for Superheroes enrollment conversation led to closing my 9,997 program in 4 weeks. This bonus is incredible. incredible, and it's yours for free. Also, bonus number 4, this is yours as well. You're going to get 2 tickets to come to the next Live Your Message Live. And so this is the first time ever that it's been done virtually. And it is amazing because I've seen it done in person. I've known Marisa now since 2013. And this is going to be 3 action-packed days in March of 2021. And so experience products are a great way to start this business. What do you do when you take it to the next level? You may want to know the answers to the following questions. You want to know, hey, once I have an experience product, what should I do next? Or you may be wondering, how do you create an entire integrated product suite that turns one-time buyers into customers for life? Or even, how can you churn these one-off experience courses into thriving businesses? All of that and more is going to be answered for you at Live Your Message Live. Plus, you're going to be walked through the message to money pathway systems that Marisa has, which are absolutely incredible. Now, this bonus, when you sign up here, gives you 2 free tickets. You'll have to put down a small deposit. By the way, once you do that and you show up, it gets returned back to you. And this is another way that you get experience points that helps you be successful with EPM. And as I've said, I've been to more than one of Marisa's events, and they're all top notch. They're all as good in experience as her EPM course is itself. Every bit as experience-fied as EPM is, she practices what she preaches with this formula. Now, these tickets go for $997 on their own if you were to buy them and be part of the public invitation, but you have 2 tickets, so you can bring somebody else if you want to for free. Now, bonus number 5, this is killer. Most people don't even know this exists. This is the Experienceify software. This is the secret weapon, my friend. So if you did nothing else but use this software, I am convinced you're going to meet with success and outsell and outserve 99% of people out there who are putting out products. Because you see, when you go through EPM, you're going to be blown away by all the super cool membership site stuff that's going on and how the program is delivered. And you're going to be like, I want to do that too. And now you can. See, since 2016 up until recently, Marisa's had to rely on these third-party tools, you know, the expensive ones. I'm sure you own some of them. And she's trying to duct tape them together, Frankenstein them together, wrap them up together to try to create an experience product. And not only did it never give her what she wanted, it cost her a ton of money and it stressed her the freak out too. So what did she do? She built her own platform. And it took years and it took hundreds of thousands of dollars to make it happen. And now it's available to the public for $99 a month. Better though, you're going to get 3 months free access to this platform to do whatever you want with it. So with Experienceify, that means unlimited number of students that you can take in. That means unlimited number of courses. That means that you can have a built-in XP system that you can take immediate advantage of. It has customizable sound effects and screen animations, so you can create those addictive feels like the platforms like Facebook have. You can customize pretty much everything, but like membership pages, you can put your mission in there. You can have the countdown timer to when mission is accomplished. You can have goals. You can use leaderboards to spark competition and stickiness, just like they do in Candy Crush. There's built-in customer activity monitoring that automatically sends different triggers out to help customers win and keep moving forward toward the finish lines. There's rewards and recognition technology built in to fire off those happy chemicals for your customers so they love you, they buy more from you, they refer more to you, and they get more results. And all this can be built with these gorgeous looking pages, these gorgeous looking forms that can easily be customized to your heart's content. This software automates all the cool stuff that you're seeing today in my webinar on building experience products. It replaces all those old boring membership platforms that exist out there. And so I want you to jump in right now, go and get started while this limited deal is still available. Bonus number 6. This is an exclusive, never before seen, besides by like 12 people that's ever existed on this planet. It's called the $10 million evergreen secret. So once your EPM product, once the course is done, once you have this product, I want you to use what I consider the greatest vehicle ever to offer your experience product to the world. And that is a vehicle that allows you to pull in sales day in, day out, night in, night out, even while you're deep, head on the pedal, drooling in sleep, right? And I speak, of course, of the webinar. Now, the webinar, the downside of it is that they're hard to automate. And so most people are forced to do them live. So for example, Marisa she had to do 28 webinars when she was starting, and she had an information product. And that's 50 plus hours of her time of showing up and selling product. And that's exhausting. And it's also scary to do it live. That's like walking across a tightrope without a net, right? So how do you automate this? How do you get some of the power of this without having to actually go out there and do it? Now, let's be very clear here. If there's big money on the line, like when we set the record for biggest promotion of all time, you should probably do them live. But for most of you, that's too much too soon. So what I want you to do is automated evergreen webinars, Jason Fladlien style. Now, I'm considered by many to be the top expert in the world on this subject. I've done webinars for people like Tony Robbins. I've done webinars for people like Larry King. And in fact, Marisa herself is a paying client of mine. She spent $4,995 to learn about my webinar formula in person. So what you have here as a bonus today is a first and only. Nowhere from no one else can you get this training on how I do automated webinars. This is the no frills, no tech, caveman approach to how to do them, because I made it super simple. And the only way to get this training, it's not available anywhere else. It's only available exclusively at quadwin.com. Now there's 12 people, roughly 12 to 15 people. I didn't count exactly how many were on the call who have seen this training. And these people who have seen this training were Marisa's top affiliates, the people that referred her the most business. And so she brought me in to train the people that refer her the most money. That was why this training was created. But I have negotiated because I felt like if it was good enough for them, it should be good enough for you as well. So you don't have to pay anything for this. You get this for free. Then there's the ultimate EPM traffic method. This is another Jason Fladlien Rapid Crush exclusive. See, EPM is almost flawless. Almost. The only area that I consider that needs to be beefed up at all is how to get traffic and buyers through experience products. Now, don't misconstrue what I'm saying here. In EPM itself, there is a ton of focus on how to get buyers to your experience product. And you also get that reinforced with the group coaching and even with your private coach. But everyone's missed what I consider the single greatest traffic advantage that experience products have. And that's a very clever way that you can easily get other people to promote your product as an affiliate. In fact, many of you are on this very webinar right now because one of my 422 affiliates that I have sent you here. So I know how to get affiliates. And I also know that when you have experience products, there's an easy hack that you can use those experience products towards to get other people to promote your products for you. I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to show you how to find these people. And because once a certain type of person sees these experience products, they can't help but promote it to their already existing audience who's ready to spend money with you. That's an exclusive bonus only available to you. You haven't seen this bonus before because I've never done it before. We're going to do this bonus on a live private Zoom training that I'm going to conduct with you. You're going to join me live on my private Zoom. I'm going to walk you through the ins and outs of this method. If you want to ask questions, I'll stay and answer every relevant question till it's finished. And we'll even take the recording and we'll zip it up and we'll send it over to you when it's done so you have access to the recording as well. Bonus number 8 is Marisa's Coachathons. So see, EPM is a live course that's done in real time alongside of you. And the challenge with that at this time is that there's Thanksgiving, there's Christmas, and there's New Year's. And so you have 3 break weeks during the course of the Experience Product Masterclass. You can rest if you want to, and that's totally cool if you do. But if you wish to, you can take advantage of these Coachathon sessions that Marisa does. And these are 3 different 3-hour sessions where she'll personally do laser hot seats. You can apply for these, you can be selected for these, and then this is where she will do one-on-one, give input, give feedback, give coaching, give advice, give anything that makes sense. So even if you're not on the hot seat, simply seeing her do her magic is priceless. As Cassie says here, watching Marisa Laser Coach is worth $2,000 in and of itself. So that bonus is also yours, and you have access to that as well, and you can see the value here. Here's your chance to get your hands on this once-in-a-lifetime really opportunity. It is only available once a year. And with this type of bonus structure that I have set up for you, it is so fresh off the presses. And when you click through to the order form, it won't even reconcile. What I mean by that is the bonuses won't be in the right order. There may not bonuses on the order form that you see that are listed here. But whatever the case is, you get all those bonuses too. But this, I think, is the most important bonuses. And this is why last minute, I have decided to mix it up to give you the most value that I could possibly offer to you. And I've saved the best for last. Got one more for you. Maybe this is the mother of all bonuses. Because I want you to think about this for a second. What if your first experience product was 100% set up for you? Just set up so you didn't have to do it. So here's what I mean by that. What if Marisa's team went in, took your experience product, and built it out in the Experienceify platform for you? Now, this would melt away all those tech worries that you may have, and this would obviously save massive amounts of time as well. And even best of all, it's the peace of mind. You know it's going to be done in the best possible way, since you have the team that invented the experience formula setting it up in the Experienceify software, which they've also invented, and doing it all for you on your behalf. And here's what I love about this. You got 1 full year after the end of EPM to redeem this bonus. So you can do it whenever you wish to. You can hold this as like a get out of jail card, or you could cash this in right away. And this easily in and of itself, I would put this at a $5,000 value. But this bonus is yours for free. The only catch is you must act now, and you got to claim it before it expires. EPM is only offered in this live format once a year. So if you know you want our support along the way to help you be successful, to design, market, and make at least $2,000 from your experience product in 12 weeks or less, then you got to go to make it happen. That's where you go to also get all the bonuses. And that's how you also get protected by the legal guarantee of profits as well. See, this webinar today, it's reaching people from all corners of the earth. And I know for some of you, you face a difficult situation right now, either with time or with money, or maybe both. And so because of that, I want to take all the risk out of this offer for you. So that way you can sign up with 100% certainty that you're going to meet with success. And so here's how we're going to make this happen. This is the $2,000 success guarantee. And here's how it goes. If after you go through EPM and you don't make $2,000 from your experience product, you get paid $2,000. Simple as that. So one way or another, if you do the bare minimum to get through the program, you are absolutely guaranteed $2,000. So you do have to reach certain things that I'm pretty confident you're going to reach no matter what, because you've got to qualify for this guarantee. So here's the you'll make $2,000 guarantee qualifications. First is you sign the legal guarantee, because this is official, right? So you sign, you say, all right, I'm in for the guarantee. You follow the simple step-by-step instructions given to you by Marisa and her team. You put EPM into action, and you use the support and resources that are available. And if you're wondering how easy it is to do these bare minimum things to meet the requirement of this guarantee, I want you to check this out. 2,600 plus customers have went through EPM. The average customer completes 79% of its trainings and its calls, but only 80% are required to graduate. So the average student basically graduates, which is awesome. 45% of people reach their goal when they go through the process and submit their success story, which is why 863 people and counting have these success stories that you can pour through that are available through the EPM portal. This is Experience Product Masterclass. This is how powerful this is. This is why you can make such a guarantee of profit. Basically, in a nutshell, 2K, you either make 2K by course end, or Marisa pays you up to 2K, whatever the difference is. And all you have to do is what the course is designed for. You essentially have to collect experience points. That's it. Now, if you want to know the nitty-gritties and the full detail of the guarantee spelled out for you, plain as day, and also know that for whatever reason, if this isn't to your liking or if life interrupts you, there is a no questions asked guarantee, and the time in which that expires is also on that page as well. So it doesn't matter. Any way you look at it, you're going to be better off when you sign up. By the way, if you want to take advantage of the full tuition opportunity, not only will that save you $200 some odd overall, but you're going to also unlock an additional bonus called the Behind the Scenes Launch Success Secrets bonus. And so this is a biggie. You get access to an exclusive session that was taken from her Momentum program. It's a high-tier coaching program she has, and it's designed to give you an advantage when you launch by knowing the secrets of how Marisa conducts her launch of her experience products. And these are the templates that she uses that have helped her grow a $17 million business. So if you want to take care of this all at once, or if you already have, or if you want to switch to make sure you get it all at once, because you signed up too quick and you didn't know about this, I'm sure we could accommodate you. And I want you to win, like all these customers who took EPM. That's why I want you to go to Quad Win. That's what we call it, Quad Win. I win when you win. Marisa wins. The customer that you reach wins. All four of us win. You're guaranteed to win. All you got to do is collect the experience points. Whew. Now, I've been keeping an eye on the chat. And out of the corner of my eye, I've seen some questions kind of pile up. And I know Will, he lives in the chat while I do these things, my business partner here. And I know there's a lot of you still on this call right now. And I'm certain that you have some questions. And I have some that I want to address too, to make sure that you understand what's at stake here, to see if this is the thing for you. I'm pretty confident it is, but if we got to work through some of the details to see for sure, I'm here for you. So I'm going to take a quick drink of water. And while I do, Will, why don't you go ahead and queue up and tell me what's going on from the chat.
All right, so Jason, obviously the presentation resonated with a lot of people, right? They understand the importance of gamification, the power of gamification, and how gamification has been used on them, right, to get them addicted to certain things and certain sites and certain apps and so on. So obviously the power of gamification is obvious to everyone. I've been answering questions in the chat box.
And by the way, gamification is one tiny fraction of this bigger picture. And if you notice, I never used the word gamification once in this presentation, because I think if you look at us in terms of gamification, you miss the forest for the trees. You're selling yourself short. Gamification is a byproduct of understanding how to get people addicted to moving forward towards success. It is one small component of it, right? But yeah, it is certainly there. So tactically speaking, yes, if you put that in, you're going to do better. And so if you do nothing more but use the Experienceify software, you will have all the gamification you need. Because the problem with gamification is like somebody telling you 156 different ways to drive traffic. You're like, but which one works? It's a cool concept and it makes for fun, Friday night cocktail conversation, but what the hell do you do with it? How do you make it work? The answer is here. And the answer will get all the good stuff that comes with that, as well as so much more.
So Jason, correction on your slide, they actually save a whole $385 when they take the one payment plan.
So math is not my strong suit, but making you an incredible deal. So no matter what it is that you're paying much less than you're getting in value. That is my strong suit. And so whatever the case is, honestly, I just want you in the damn course. All right, that's all I want.
I had to appease Tony and some others that were doing math. And
no, you're absolutely correct. I am glad. I am glad that you brought that up.
Yeah. Here's a great question. Are there any seniors who have completed the course and made money? I'm concerned that you have to be younger to attract your own students and be successful.
So here's the bad news. There are no seniors in high school that have completed this program. Now, those of you, I don't know what you mean by senior. I know you mean probably something else. I'm just teasing you a little bit here. I have seen people as old as 77, but that's only because they disclosed that. I have seen pictures of some of the success stories that look over 80, but sometimes looks can be deceiving, right? So to answer your question, I have seen people, I don't know what you mean by senior. If you qualify for a senior citizen discount, I have seen many people who have succeeded with that, right? What I like about this and why I think it would be more friendly for those of you who are concerned about either your energy levels or you're concerned about the amount of focus you can have for whatever reason, right? I think you're going to find the Experience Product Masterclass to be your best friend. Why? Because you're going to do so much less than what you're normally doing. See, what we often have to do is we have to make up for the limitations like that info products have by doing so much more. So we have to overcome things, right? We have to walk up the hill. Let me put it this way. Walking up a hill takes a lot more effort than walking down a hill. Would you agree with that, right? Because we don't know that there's a way to walk down the hill to get to the goal. We only think there's a way to walk up the hill. Some of us think we have to walk up on the hill face first, right? So I'm feeling like if your concern was anything to do with your energy levels, if your concern was due to anything where you're concerned that your cognitive function isn't as sharp as it used to be, if your concern is that you don't think like, you know, your level of technology, you feel like you don't understand what all the cool kids are doing these days, right? It's a valid concern to have, and I'm glad you brought it up, but it is inconsequential to your success with EPM. In fact, it may be the biggest, it's not a bug, it's a feature. How about that one, right? Because this was designed to be the easiest, simplest way to help people towards a better tomorrow, both the producer and the consumer. And I think it's nailed it so wonderfully. The only tragedy about the Experience Product Masterclass is almost nobody knows about it. I made the mistake of not looking at this sooner because I was all like, experience, like, what the hell? What do we got to create this massive experience? Like, we got to do all this work. I don't understand that, you know? And so my own limitation is what prevented me from getting this to you last year, which I wish I could have. I actually had a lot of regret about that because I made a snap judgment, and I sold myself short. And so what I love about this is that it's not complicated like I thought it was. It's just a couple different switches. It's just a millimeter or two difference from what is normally out there, but it's different in the right ways. So you do so much less, but because you're switching just a couple basic things, it makes it easier and ultimately makes it more effective. So hopefully that answers your question. By the way, put it to the test. Will and I, when we do guarantees like this, which is few and far between, these whole guarantees of profit, we always say, prove us wrong. Try to prove us wrong. Because either way, we're going to be happy. If you go through this and the worst thing that happens to you is you learn a whole bunch of cool stuff, you get a whole new experience, and you get your hands on some of these awesome things, and you make $2,000, damn, baby, you're styling, right? That's awesome. I'll take you any way I can have you. If you can get in, that's all I want from you. And I said this before, we tend to undervalue ourselves. And as a result, we sell ourselves short. And then guess what happens when you sell yourself short? So does everybody else. And I'm the rare, crazy individual who just can't tolerate that. It just pisses me off. And this isn't some hokey, positive thinking attitude nonsense, because hopefully if you know me, I'm not all bells and whistles, right? I'm not always the friendliest guy either, right? To me, this is logic. This is gravity. This is as evident as the sun rising in the morning and setting at night, right? I am not tolerant of those of you who want to sell yourself short, because I know that if you're willing to come on here and spend 1 hour and 58 minutes with me and counting, learning cutting edge technology that all the big boys and girls out there like Masterclass won't humble themselves to learn, then you're going to eat their lunch in the marketplace. Because you have the one missing ingredient that most people never have. You have the curiosity. The challenge with your curiosity is it pulls you in 100 or 200 or 500 different directions simultaneously. So this is why you're simultaneously moving in all sorts of directions and going nowhere at the same time, right? And I'm saying, damn it, we ain't doing that anymore. I'm going to put you on the one horse and we're going to ride it to the finish line. And that horse is Experience Product Masterclass.
Awesome. So Jason, we have some really good questions here. Jay has asked this same question a couple of different ways. I'm going to try and paraphrase what Jay said. Jay has a high-end program, a $25,000 program that targets high-income earners.
Like it.
How will this work for them? Will they be interested in this whole concept of experience and gamification?
Yes, they will. And there's a lot to this. So let me answer this 3 different ways. Okay, this is going to be fun. Way number 1, I know it will work because I've seen so many testimonials where people sell high-end things. And they just Experience Product Masterclass for them. It's almost unfair because it's so easy. Because if you're capable of selling a high-end thing anyway, you have certain skill sets that most people will never have. So you barely have to do anything different and get a profoundly different result. Now, here's what I mean by that. If people are buying a 99-cent thing or a $25,000 thing, and trust me, I know I'm in the market for both of those things and many other things too, the purchasing decisions are almost always the same. The same triggers are required to fire off. And that's what people want. At the end of the day, people want to be engaged. They want to feel connected. They want to feel like they're part of something greater than themselves. And they want to feel like they're not lost. And they want to feel like they have some sort of purpose in their life, right? And so the way typically programs, services, coaching, consulting, all that other stuff is sold is it's kind of implied, or it's maybe there under a couple layers of fog and noise, right? And what Experience Product Masterclass, if it's already there, it pulls it out and makes it front and center. But if it's somehow or another it's got too much dirt on it and you can't find it anymore, it revitalizes it, or it brings it out if it was missing. And so I am 100% confident that if you sign up, that if you sell a high-end product, you should already be signed up right now. I mean, you should still be asking the question so you can get some clarity on it. But the question shouldn't be whether I should buy or not. And I could just be very frank with you on that, because you will lose out on a fortune if you're selling high end. Because what's great is on a lower ticket level, experience is not even necessarily needed. But you want to sell high end, you got to know experience. You have to have that, because that's one of the greatest differentiations you're going to have over everybody else. You know, when I go to Cartier, which I try to avoid, because every time I go in there, I spend far more money than I expect to, right? They don't just give me water. They hand it to me on a literal silver platter with the mints and with the white glove service, right? Now, it probably costs them $50 total for that platter, right? But the difference is the difference between buying, you know, a $19,000 watch or like a $300 watch, right? Those little differences add up. Now, those are very clever differences. You take anything education related or anything information related, you add some of this stuff, it's amazing how easier this becomes in the information world, because you don't have to have a physical store and you don't have to train employees on how to create an experience, right? And so, yeah, it's a great question to answer. I don't want to spend too much time on it because it's probably not applicable to most people on this webinar. But certainly I can just tell you with 100% conviction, and I'm 100% certain this course was made for you, basically. Okay, this is Rodeo Drive in digital format for you to create that high-end experience for your customers. Now, what about the rest of you? What if you sell low-ticket products? What if you sell mid-ticket products? Yes, and yes, and yes. We all want and crave experience. This is why I marvel at this. You know how much Candy Crush cost? You know how much Fortnite costs? $0. So prior to games like Fortnite was really the first free-to-play game. So is Roblox. Roblox is free-to-play, right? They were the first games ever that were pretty much free-to-play because everybody else was like, they were charging $60 a game. Or then they started going to the microtransaction model, which we're all familiar with. Charge $1 or $5 or $10 and then charge more with in-app purchases and stuff like that. Fortnite broke the barrier down and says, let's just give the whole damn thing away for free. No cost needed. And that was the most successful business model because they hooked them with experience. And then once they got in for a penny, in for a pound, in this case, they didn't have to put a penny in place, right? And so for those of you who want to start low ticket, mid ticket, the price point don't matter. Because here's why. A repeat customer is going to make you the most money you'll ever make in your life. So whether that customer starts with you for $1, starts with you for $100 or $1,000, what they're really doing is creating a relationship with you that will go on for as long as you wish to serve that customer, period. I know that for a fact because some of you are on webinars with me now who have been with me since 2007. More than one of you, which is crazy because you were with me before my children existed even. Think about that, right? And that's the power of it. Now, the way I did it is not a way that's easy to replicate, right? First of all, I spent my 10,000 hours a couple times on a couple different ways. Secondly is like, I am so passionate about what I do that there is no motivation to take action ever needed. I do this naturally and inherently create my own finish lines and mission accomplished and stuff like that, right? I am a different breed. And so to replicate it the way that I do it is challenging. So what about if you don't have some of those things, or if you're unwilling to devote a majority of your life to the craft like I was? That's why I like experience products instead, because you don't have to be monomaniacally focused and you don't have to have some sort of weird personality defect like I do. You can maintain your normal sense and healthiness in your life and you could still be super effective because you're tapping into some of the same techniques that I have to tap in, but I'm doing it manually, and you can be doing it automatically with Experience Product Masterclass.
Thanks, Jason. We have a question here that didn't come up through the entire webinar, and now it came up a whole bunch of times all at once.
Damn right. Let's do it, baby.
This is a great one, and you knew this was coming. I'll paraphrase them all together. What if I don't have a product or don't know what product to create?
Fascinating. So this tells me one of two things. So if this never came up throughout the presentation, it either tells me that none of you were really thinking about doing this, which scares me. So hopefully that's not the case, right? Or you were so enthralled by the insights that you didn't allow the freaking worry monster to rain on your parade, which always tends to crop up and cheat people out of good opportunities. These little nagging doubts to cheat people out of big, big opportunities. So you have a product, you don't have a product. If you have a product, chances are it doesn't matter because you don't have an experienced product, even if you do have a product. So it really doesn't help you in any way, shape, or form. If you don't have a product, who cares? Because you can engineer an experienced product very, very quickly and very effectively. So the point of this offer is not whether you have a product or not. The point of Experience Product Masterclass is your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to create the best possible product that I think could exist on the internet and be seeing your money come back to you very quickly, in under 12 weeks, in fact, right? And then once you do that, it just repeats. It just compounds. It goes over and over again. So at no point in time is it required, needed, or even a concern whether you do have a product or you don't have a product, because you don't have an experienced product, period. So let me give everybody a sense of relief. None of you have a product. There we go. Let's start there, right? And isn't that wonderful? I am glad none of you have a product. We're going to start. You're going to step into this program, and you're going to do it like a fresh, doe-eyed babe right out of the barn, ready to succeed. And then you're going to succeed, damn it. And that's how it's going to be. And so products be damned. You don't need a product. Product is the last thing you need. You need a process. From process comes product. And that's what's really powerful, right? You're going to have coaching to guide you along the way. I took one look at this offer. Will was on the call with me when I was talking to Marisa, and I said, Marisa, you have done yourself a disservice. And she says, what do you mean? I said, you're selling this too cheaply. And I mean that with all the sense of the world, right? Because in a lot of ways, Marisa has so much involved in this product, it hampers her and it limits her ability to market this better. What I mean by that is she's paying her coaches all this money. She has so much money built into Experienceify. She has all this stuff going on with all the different coaching aspects and elements. I'm like, you're practically giving away all your profits. And we should all be in the business of profit, right? All of you are lucky that I am not the one that controls the price point, because I would correct this price point, because this is a misapplied price point. The price point is incorrect. It is way too low for what it does in terms of its value. And that's a limitation for Marisa in terms of being able to market it to get it out there to more people, right? But the price is whatever the price is. So you should take advantage of the price if that is something that's exciting to you. From my perspective, if I change your life, whether you pay me $2,000, $3,000, or $5,000, and you make $100,000 or $100,000+ or $100,000 a month, right? You won't remember the nickels and dime difference, right? But what you will remember is what is important. And what's important here is you get coaching whenever you need it, practically on demand. You get private coaching in multiple different aspects. You get every modality you will need to succeed, from the Live Your Message Live. You get the Experienceify software and the platform. You get the community. Here's something I didn't even tell you about. They have a private Facebook group that's also looped into all this as well. You get to experience the formula as you learn about the experience formula. It's very meta. It's Inception style. You have the experience, and now you can give the experience. But until you have the experience, you can't give the experience. So you are absolutely at a deal. I will not be surprised. In fact, I will be disappointed in Marisa if she doesn't raise the price come next year in October when she reopens this program again. I fully expect to, and I will lobby for her to increase the price for no other reason than what I know is is that if you more properly reflect the actual value of something, people are more likely to say yes to it and get benefit out of it. Otherwise, something feels off. And yeah, something's off here. The price is off. It's too low, if I'm being frank with you and I'm being honest with you. Now, that doesn't mean, let's be very clear with each other, that doesn't mean that it won't hurt for some of you to buy this. So even though the price may be lower than it should be, for some of you on your pocketbooks, it's going to stress them. It's going to really put you down to next to nothing for some of you. I get that. I understand that, right? I know what that's like firsthand. I very much am intimately familiar with lack of funds. I know that very well. I'm an expert at it. I've had more experience in my life being poor than I have being rich. I'm almost at break even. Give me about 8 or 9 more years, I'll be at break even. So I have more experience knowing what it's like to be poor than I do knowing what it's like to be rich. But that doesn't mean that we allow that to be an excuse that holds us back if we can prevent it. Okay. Now, if you're watching this webinar and you're in Bangladesh, where the average person makes $75 a month, yeah, different set of economics, right? So I'm not saying that this might not stress you out as you think about paying for this and then you think about buying this. I'm not saying that this is not going to make some of you squeamish as you put the money up. Let's be very clear about that, right? But what I'm saying is, if not this, then what? For most people, what they do anyway is, instead of investing in one good program, they spread it out across 8 programs thinking they save money. Instead, they end up spending twice as much, but they're 10 times more confused than they were when they were starting. So that's called being penny wise and pound foolish, right? And I don't want that to happen to you. So I'm going to do the best I can. This is one of the reasons Will and I stay on these things and try to answer questions as much as possible, because I have a different perspective on things than most people do. And oftentimes, or at least some of the time, that perspective helps people shift their perspective. Because if you're looking at this and thinking of all the ways you can't do it, congratulations, you will win. Unfortunately, the game you won is the I can't do this game. If you're looking at this, I'm not asking you to look at this for all the ways you can do that, okay? Because then you could delude yourself. All I'm asking you to do is look at all the ways that you might be able to do it. That's all I want from you. And if you say, hey, maybe this plays out, I'm going to tell you what I feel about that, all right?
Here's the funniest question of the entire webinar, Jason. Is Marisa married? And the answer is yes, Tim. She is married.
You know, in her presentation of this, she talks about the story of how her husband proposed to her and how he made it an experience, and it was really good. But because that was her story to tell, not mine, I replaced it with the Roblox story with me and the kids. Yep.
Tim is disappointed. You can hang out with her, Tim, if you do join EPM.
I knew Marisa before her and Murray got married. Murray was her copywriter originally. So the first time I was introduced to Murray, it was like, here's my copywriter. And then later on, I was like, hey, can you send me over the copywriter? She's like, oh, yeah, he's my husband now, too. I'm like, oh, interesting. He must have wrote a good sales letter for her.
All right.
You know, by the way, I knew Marisa before she got into the internet marketing niche, like really when she first broke into it. And it's so fascinating to see her journey, because she does bring a very different experience. So I've watched her go from completely outside the industry to being a titan in the industry in record time. And I think a big part of that is because of the fact that she focuses on things that are way more related to experience than education and information. I think that's awesome.
All right. Let's see. Boy, the comments are flying fast here. Murray's on the call, by the way.
And nice.
Okay. So here's a great one, Jason. Again, I love picking these questions that encompass a lot of other questions from a lot of other people. Jennifer says, I'm going to paraphrase a little bit. She's a single mother working 8 to 5 Monday through Friday and also homeschooling her children, like most parents are these days.
I know what that's like.
Yeah. How much time a day to day do I need to invest in order to be successful, complete this course?
See, that's a great question, because let me answer it to you in a way. I've never been able to answer this question before. This is really exciting. The answer is you can't look at it that way. It's not going to be helpful for you to look at it that way. All you're going to do is, so let's put it this way. Let's just say that there's a game you like to play or a social media you like to peruse. Is it Nicole? Is that her name, Will?
Jennifer.
Jennifer. Sorry, Jennifer. So, and Nicole too, because I know there's a Nicole on here thinking about buying right now. But Jennifer, there's an app or a platform or a game, or there's something you like to peruse that you enjoy. And you never say to yourself, well, I better not do this because how much time per week can I do this, right? Nobody says, well, I better not go on Facebook because I'm a single mom that works 8 to 5 that is now homeschooling their children, right? Monday through Friday, working and homeschooling the kids. So I better not play this game, use this app, go on this website. It's funny how we never have that conversation. Maybe we would be better off if we did have some more of those conversations. But for the things that are designed to be experiential, money or time is not a consideration, because you'll find out that it's less about allocating time, which is implying that you've got to put forth effort and like really work it hard, right? It's just more about being in a natural state of being. And typically when we have downtime or time that's not committed to something, we try to maximize that with things that make us feel good. And that's what the Experience Product Masterclass does. So you're going to find out that all of a sudden you have more time than you think, because you're going to make time for things that are enjoyable to you without even any effort involved of saying, well, I have to consciously set aside this amount of time and I got to budget it this way and I got to show up this way and I got to be regimented, right? This is why everybody joins a gym on January 1st, and by January 22nd, nobody's going to that gym that they joined anymore, right? Because it takes too much structure. It takes too much discipline. It takes too much methodical planning. It takes too much willpower. It takes too much mental faculties, right? But at the same time, we can do stuff forever, even if we're on the most limited amount of times, if it's natural, if it's just part of who we are, if it's just simple, if we're pulled towards it, right? No effort is implied, no amount of mental discipline or physical kind of planning required. And that's what Experience Product Masterclass is. I dare you to prove me wrong, because it's not about a time. Try it. Try to only spend 10 minutes in Experience Product Masterclass. How's that for a challenge? Try to limit yourself to only spend a very little amount of time in Product Masterclass, Experience Product Masterclass. You will fail at it because it's sticky.
That's like I'm going to play just one more level of Candy Crush. Right?
Yeah. Oh, totally, right? It's just that I'm only going to watch one more episode of this Netflix thing that I'm watching. That autoplays so conveniently for me, so I don't even have to click the button to play the next one, right? Yeah, you know? Think about that. That's what this is here. And it's weird because you have no frame of reference for this. Not really, although you kind of do. There was some idea of something, some topic, some piece of information, some subject that you have gotten enthralled by. And you gobble up the information whenever it comes. And if a minute goes by, an hour goes by, it's all the same to you, right? Tell me you've never had that experience before, Jennifer. Anybody on this call, tell me that's not happened to you. Now, you've been in school and had the other experience, learning things that are absolutely so dry that you would rather smash your face in with a stick so you could get out of class, right? I'm trying to think of, what was it? Organic chemistry, right? That made me want to just quit life. It was so dry and mundane and boring for me, right? Some of you probably like that stuff, right? But there are other things that you are just fascinated by and you want to absorb, and you don't even think about it in terms of time or effort. You're just drawn to it. Now, oftentimes, the only experience we have related to that are things that are just really interesting to us, which are few and far between. And oftentimes, most of us, we're more interested in the base things in life, right? This is why gossip magazines, People, National Enquirer, E! News, and reality TV is so popular. None of us will admit it, but all of us really love to enjoy a good train wreck or a little bit of the lowbrow stuff, right? But none of that stuff is really of value to making our lives better. We can't resist it, but it pulls and compels us. So all we're doing is switching that mechanism. We're going to pull and compel you the same way, in a sense, that reality TV does, or some of these tabloids and rags do. But the only difference is it's addictive to things that will make you better and happier and have more longevity, not things that will ultimately create these self-defeating addictions that feel good in the short term at the expense of the long term, right? So to answer the question in a very short term, time is not a concern. I want you to think about something where no matter how busy you were, you did anyway. Okay? Now think about that. I know some of you are so busy that not brushing your teeth would save you a tremendous amount of time over your life. But you brush your teeth anyway. And that's not even fun, right? Now homeschool your kids, get them to sing along and brush their teeth and make it fun. And now your kids will want to brush their teeth even more than they probably should. That's how you change the experience. Now you don't have to figure that out here. It's already been figured out for you. So just show up and do it. A little of this goes a long way because it doesn't exist. How many of you can honestly tell me you buy any info products, including mine? Mine don't do this. They will, because I didn't know this. This was brand new to me. I was like, uh-oh. That was on. You want to know the first feeling I got when I went through Experience Product Masterclass? I will tell it to you. Cover the kids' ears, because this is what I said. I said, oh, shit. That's what I said to myself, because I'm like, damn, I missed this. I didn't do this. I could have done this. If I did this, then this would have been able to happen, and that would have been able to happen, right? You know, Mark Twain said it best. He says, a man learns a lesson by picking up a cat by the tail that he can't learn any other way. So he said something like that, much more elegantly than I put it. A man learns a lesson by picking up a cat by the tail that he can't learn any other way. And that's a negative lesson in that sense, because you can't describe what a cat will do if you pick them up by their tails, but you can feel it when they scratch the hell out of you and they go crazy. So you can't really describe that. Now, the positive side is you can't really understand what it's like to go through Experience Product Masterclass any other way than by just joining.
That was a great answer, Jason, and address just to make sure everybody that asked a similar question about time, hopefully you know that Jason wasn't just talking to Jennifer and Nicole. He was talking to all the questions about time, because we're not going to address them as we go along. There's a question about when do the live sessions take place? The first live session will take place, I believe it is October 26th. I do not know the time of day. However, those sessions are all recorded, and it is not critical that you attend them live at all. Not critical at all that you attend them live. It's always great if you can attend live, because there's something that makes you feel good about being in a live event rather than watching a video, right? But you will gain XP regardless of whether you attend live or watch the recording, guaranteed.
Yep. Well, there's the trainings that are available to you, and then there's the coaching itself. Now, there are things that are in that course or in the Experience Product Masterclass that you can gain XP on and move forward with before the training itself starts.
Yeah, there's actually something that you will go through before the actual training starts on October 26th, which is the Pick Your Product Challenge, which is a 5-day challenge, which you can do actually in more than 5 days if you wish. But that is one of the course materials that you get that will prepare you to even get started. And there's a community, there's a Facebook community, which you haven't listed here. There's several other things that you will get that are not even listed here. So there's more that you will find as far as the resources and bonuses and materials when you actually get into EPM. Yeah,
it's funny because in most instances, giving like a lot of stuff to people can overwhelm them. So as a course creator, I often have to face a dilemma. Do I overwhelm them and give them more value simultaneously, or do I underwhelm them by giving them less value, but maybe not confuse them, right? So Experience Masterclass bypasses that whole conundrum, that whole issue, because simply is it can give 10 times more, but it can make you feel even more confident, and it won't make you feel overwhelmed or confused like a normal course would. But try to sell one of these damn things the way that I'm doing it from the master herself, Marisa, who created it, and becomes challenging for me because I'm like, man, what do I talk about and what don't I talk about? Because I have a limited amount of time that I'm going to be able to engage with you. So the short answer, though, is that there is so much here. And honestly, Marisa's been doing this since 2016. She first developed and tested the formula in 2016. And then she has perfected it since 2016. And as such, you take an advantage and then you just expand upon it. And she's been able to single-handedly focus on this to improve it to the level that it is. And this is awesome. What frustrates me is that more people don't know this product exists, because if they did, more information products would be published that are experientified, and we'd all win. We would all win. So I'm hoping that's the case. But right now, I put it at, I believe it or not, most of you will have trouble believing this, but it's the truth. I look at over 1,000 courses a year between different products, books, courses, and trainings. Most of it is because it's my job. Either by my own research to see who's doing good stuff and who's not doing so good stuff, keeping an eye on my competitor, right? Competitors as well. I have coaching clients that are bringing me their products and paying me obscene amounts of money just to glance at them. And I'm getting other people who want me to promote their products, like I'm promoting Marisa's products. And so I have thousands of courses thrown at me every year. I look at over 1,000 plus courses, and I see 1 out of 1,000 roughly that does this, what Marisa's doing here. So my hope is eventually we will revolutionize how digital is. We'll never fix it. 99% of people will continue to do it the same old way, but we can benefit and be the 1% that does make a difference. But it relies on you being okay with throwing out the normal rules in playbook, the normal approach. You have to be okay with taking everything that you thought was sacred and sacrificing it at the altar. And if it's the end result you're after, which is more money and better customers, happier customers, then it's a worthwhile sacrifice to make. It's not really a sacrifice. It's just a mental limitation most of us have. Most of us would rather hold on to what we know than to give it up for something better, just because we don't have any frame of reference for it. And that's the battle I fight with you every single day, that I'm trying to help you out, is you want to cling on to what you are comfortable with and what you are aware of and what you know. But unfortunately, that's the same thing that can hold you down. And often, most of you cling to it like it's chains on your arms and on your feet and on your ankles. And I want to break those chains. I want to be the chain breaker. And I want to lead you to a new place where we have to do it a new way. And that's this way. I am very, very much certain that you will work 1/10 as hard doing this and get 10 times the result. I know you have nothing to base it on other than what I've taught you today and my reputation with that claim. But I know it. I just know it. I know it for many reasons, because of all the experience that I've had creating products. I've created more products than just about anybody. So I have it from that perspective. I bought more products. I bought millions of dollars worth of products throughout my life. So I have it from that perspective. I'm the best buyer in the world, right? I'll buy something if I think it'll give me a 1% possible advantage. And if 1 out of 10 products I buy is good, I'm happy, right? I'm happy with a failure rate of 90%. Because I know 1 out of 10 will make it up for it. I'm the best buyer you could ever hope to get, right? So I have very fresh perspective on that. Obviously, I want everything to buy be good, though. But I have perspective on it from that as well. I also know this because I have spent more time as a third-party validator of Marisa than anybody has. I guarantee you, anybody who promotes Experience Product Masterclass that doesn't send them directly to me like my affiliates do, they just send them through to me to take care of, I guarantee you none of them have taken the amount of effort and time to understand Experience Product Masterclass like I have. Not a single one of them. The only people that know more about this are Marisa and Murray, and anybody that's been with their team for quite a period of time whose job it is and who gets paid to know this, right? So, but here's what's cool. I have objective understanding of this product because I'm looking at it from the outside in. I wasn't part of the creation of this product. I wasn't part of the development of it or the support of it, right? I can come in with a fresh pair of eyes. And so I also know it from that perspective. I'm not too close to it. And so for those reasons and many, many, many more, that's why I can affirm for you. It always makes sense. You know, it always makes sense. Beauty is always simplicity. It's the complex. That's what gets us. The best truths are always the simplest truths. It's the complexity that prevents us. The challenge, though, is being able to separate all the noise from what has substance. And that's really what this does, is it eliminates all that stuff. And that's why it wins so well. This is the sprayer when everybody else has got a paintbrush. I need to come up with a better analogy than that, but that's what I know. So that's what you get.
No, that's what you did growing up, right?
That's what I did growing up. I remember the first time my dad told me, because I started painting houses when I was in 7th grade. The first computer I ever bought was because I spent a whole summer painting houses because I was captivated by the internet, and I was 13 years old, right? And I remember my dad told me, he says, when you spray a house, you put 5 coats of paint on. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, right? But that's what he told me. He says, you paint with a brush, you put 1 coat on. You spray it, you put 5 coats on. And so he told me, he says, when you paint a house, you don't just make it look pretty. That is actually a layer of protection for that house. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that. So when you spray it, he says, not only does it look better, but it actually protects the house more too. And of course, we get the hell out of there sooner. We get the job done quicker.
So you don't get paid by the hour, you get paid by the job. So I got an interesting set of questions. And again, I'm trying, for the sake of time, trying to combine questions. How do I combine them well? There's a sense, and some people here, a sense of perhaps, and I'm paraphrasing, they didn't use this word, but perhaps a sense of overwhelm with the information that you shared, because it seems that it could be extremely complex to accomplish all of this. And you kind of mentioned the beauties and the simplicity of it, right? So
it's a great question. I know exactly how to answer it too.
Hold on just a second.
Okay, I'll try.
Tie into that, because again, I'm aggregating questions. Tie into that, how does somebody who's not tech savvy, they call themselves not tech savvy, handle this? How does somebody who's a beginner who doesn't have experience doing this stuff handle this? And again, tie all that back to simplicity and potential overwhelm, because it sounds like there's a lot to do.
It certainly does. Now, let me tell you why it sounds like there's a lot to do. And this goes back to the philosophy that I bring in when I create a webinar presentation. Here's my philosophy. I always want to give you the option of being able to do it without buying the course. I always want to make you feel like when you get on my webinar, you can do something without having to be forced to pay me money. It's just an ethos that I live by. And so I love to be thorough for the sake of completeness. So that way, if you happen to be that poor soul in Bangladesh who only can make $75 a month, and that's a respectable income for you, right? You could still take what I taught you today and apply it. But for most of you, my ultimate goal is to show you how paying me money is cheaper than trying to do this without paying me money. That's the secret to how I make so many sales, right? Doing it on your own more expensive than signing up and getting these resources. So on one hand, what I taught you is complex, because you would have to figure this out on how to apply it specifically without coaching, without software, without all this other stuff involved. The good news is, and I say good probably in quotes, is you save $397 today or $1997, however you prefer to get invested, right? The downside is you kind of got to put together your own furniture. You ever do that? You order from IKEA or somewhere and you try to assemble something from scratch, right? I pay IKEA to do it for me, and I'm happy that I do, right? So on one hand, what I gave you was simultaneously complex and at the same time simple. When you sign up, Experience Product Masterclass will make everything make sense, fall into place. We'll have your back. We'll take all the burden off your shoulders. However, if you are in a situation where you physically can't stomach spending the money, usually it's not because you lack the money, it's because psychologically you're more attached to your money and you're willing to do it the old-fashioned way, right? With blood, sweat, and tears, right? Or you might actually be limited from some way, shape, or form. Then it's up to you. You could create a Google document, for example, for people, or a Google spreadsheet. You could create bingo cards and have people just check them off. You could send them in the mail and have your customers do it that way, right? You could architect the experience yourself. What I want you to do is I want you to appreciate what goes into the Experience Product Masterclass by the amount of education I gave you. And then I want to wave a wand, so even though you know how it works, You don't have to actually do any of that yourself, right? Instead of having to build a clock, all you got to know how to do is read the time on the clock. So it's simultaneously complex and simple all at once. So is there a lot here? Obviously there is. What Marisa has done is single-handedly engineered a way that is so much more effective than anybody else in the game. So you got to unpack that. But on the other hand, its eloquence is in its simplicity. Let me put it to you another way that might make more sense. You do not get 800. Okay, tell me if you agree with this. Everybody here, I want your feedback in the chat. Do you think it's possible to get 836 positive customer testimonials if what you have is very complex? I don't think out of 2,600 people, it is possible to have 836 people raving and loving and excited and making money and saying it's the best course ever. I don't think you can do that if this thing is complicated. I don't think you can do that if this thing is too technical. I don't think you can do that if this thing requires a massive amount of experience. I don't think that's possible. And if you read the testimonials, which you can totally read, the testimonials, I give the link to every testimonial on these slides. Go through the replay and read them yourself. Those are unedited, by the way. I edited them, but you can see the unedited version because I gave a link to every testimonial that had a screenshot of it, right? Those are customer reported who went through the program and completed it. Those are their results that they themselves have said. And warts and all, there's nothing taken out of that. There's nothing solicited necessarily to get those. That is when a customer completes their experience, they're asked for their feedback on the experience. And there's 836 people loving this product, loving this training, loving this. There's actually over 1,000 pages of testimonials when you count all the Facebook ones and each and every other one. So the short answer to this is that it has to be simple because you can't get those results if it's not simple. Now, I may have screwed up. It is very likely because I screw up at least 127 times a week. If I don't, then I don't feel right. I got to screw up at least 127 times a week, right? So I might have screwed up and given you too much information. But doesn't that prove the point? Didn't I just prove the rule by exception? That's what happens. If I overwhelmed you, then the antidote to overwhelm is the Experience Product Masterclass. If I overcomplicated it, is because I relied too much on information and education and not enough on transformation. But the thing is, on a webinar, I got no other options. I don't have this full sensory journey with this technology and this stuff set up. I have a very finite amount of time that I can promote this product to you. So I got to go with what I got, right? But hopefully that makes sense for you because there's no possible way. First of all, ask Will. I immediately eliminate promoting anything that's complicated because I know that if only a very small segment of customers can buy it, I won't put it out for everybody. I'll reach out to those customers more intimately or more one-on-one or more one-to-few, right? That's a big litmus test on how I decide what to promote. But the second thing is typically I make my decisions on what to promote based on what has the most success stories. So I'm like a detective. I go out on the internet. And most programs don't have any success stories because they don't even have anybody completing the damn programs, right? And if you knew how freaking hard it was for me to uncover something that has results, it would blow your mind. It is, Halley's Comet seems to come around more often than these products do, right? And once I find them, I love them because I do something that the course creator never does. If you watch Marisa's presentation, she may do it because she really listens to me when I train her on webinars and things like that, right? I give more customer result examples than even the course creator does. I live, breathe, eat, and sleep these customer results because I ultimately know there is nothing that will help you understand the value of something than people who have crossed the finish line. My challenge with this product, and it's a rare challenge when I have it, is how do I distill over 800 positive testimonials into one presentation? And what do I leave out? What do I put in, right? But the point of this is when you combine this with the guarantee, with these bonuses, with the opportunity, with the timing, right? You can think your way in and out of this product however the hell you want, or you can just feel your way in. And hopefully you feel me enough to try it out. If it's not all this in a bag of chips, then you get your money back. No big deal. But what if it is? What if this is the game changer for you? I think it's got a good shot at being it. No.
Awesome, Jason. I do believe we are approaching the end of the webinar because I think we've addressed most questions. If you have any, I'll give everybody one other chance to ask questions. If you have any additional questions that have not been answered, go ahead and ask in the chat box right now. By the way, when Marisa does open this program up publicly, the program is currently closed. We are the only ones that can promote this right now and let you in. When she does open it up, it will not have as many bonuses as you get on this page. It'll cost the same exact thing.
Yep.
But you get more bonuses because we wanted to add value to an already awesome program. So we added more bonuses for you. And you get to get in there before anybody else does, which is another advantage.
Yeah, you get the backstage pass essentially, with all the perks that go along with it too thrown in. So that's another deal for you that we were able to get on your behalf.
Okay, very good. Jason, thank you so much for the 2 hours and 42 minutes of this.
It's a short one today.
It is a short one. Thank you so much for everybody. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. I look forward to implementing a lot of these strategies in our business, Jason, because
just XP alone, man, it's so stupid. I should have thought of it sooner, right? It's like, how many times have we done things for imaginary internet points that have no real world value, but how compelling were they for so many people? And the answer is insanely compelling, right?
And I've used Duolingo, and I've spent, hours going into getting more XP in one day because there was a leaderboard and I wanted to be top of the leaderboard that week, right? Yep. And so I just kept on going with more lessons, which meant I got more value because I learned. Right?
Yeah. I mean, these pedometers, these are like, this is one of the greatest inventions for fitness I think I've ever met in my life is these pedometers. Like when I first started wearing one, I would like see that it would be like 9:30 at night and I'd be tired. I'm like, screw it. It's done. I'm just going to go to bed. And I look down, I'm like, oh crap, I got 9,377 steps, right? You know what I would do? I would pace around the house to get 10,000 steps in just so I could say I got 10,000, which is just an arbitrary number. Who really cares, right? There's really no difference between 9,377 steps and 10,000, except for one thing. There's an attitudinal shift. That shows me that I can get up and move. And then once I move, I start feeling good. People are like, when I feel good, then I'll get up and move. They got it backwards. We all got it backwards. That's how we're screwed up in the head, right? It's the opposite. Once I move, then I feel good. So pretty soon you start linking good experiences and good feelings to these little stupid extra activities that normally you would stop at. And that's the game changer. And so things like XP and these other methods that are in Experience Product Masterclass, they do that. It's not the big things for most people that make the difference, right? You will hear the story every so often about that person who was so fed up and they just couldn't take it anymore. And something had to be changed, and they snapped, right? Worst effective way to change ever. First of all, it's the most painful. Second of all, it usually doesn't actually work. And third of all, if it does work, it's usually short-lived, right? Most real actual change I've discovered, and I've studied the hell out of behavioral change and habit change and transformation. It's been a big part of my life. It starts with the little tiny things, the slight adjustments in something that then changes everything. But the maddening part about it is they always seem to be the most boring, most mundane stuff, right? And so we end up not doing it even though we know we should. But you start giving a freaking gold star, which works great with kids, right? Works great with dogs. You train dogs, right? I train dogs now. I'm an amateur dog trainer. And I can get a dog to do anything for a treat if they're food motivated. If they're not food motivated, maybe they're toy motivated. Then we use a toy instead, right? Some dogs just need a pat on the head, and that's how they're positively motivated. And so it's amazing. It works just as well on dogs as it does on people. And I'd argue sometimes dogs are the superior creature to man. They're a lot more loving most of the time, at least, right? And so the idea is these are things that are hardwired in our brain to associate with wins and losses. But this is not how we go about change. We go about change the same way we've always done, which is reading books, watching video programs, and this and that. But we don't add the other thing to it. And then these apps come along and we don't make the difference. We don't see the inference of how do we transfer this from over there to over here. This is why you need an industry transformer to do that, which is what Marisa's done. And so I think for most of you, here's the downside of this. How the hell do I describe that to you? I mean, I could tell you all these kinds of stories and you will get it intellectually, but will you really feel it? Will you really experience it, right? I don't know. I hope so.
I think that Fitbit example is perfect, Jason, or the pedometer.
But if you've never done that, Will, it seems hard to believe. You know, it wasn't like P90X. So I tried that shit. It didn't work, right? I did Orange Theory. It wasn't Orange Theory. I just was sore and injured when it was over with, right? High intensity interval training, right? I tried yoga before and doing, you know, hour-long yoga sessions. But somebody who's sedentary, who doesn't move at all, asking them to do an hour-long session, no way. That almost never works. You're not going to get overnight transformation like that. That's what everybody wants, right? A stupid little step counter. The first 3 days I wore it, I didn't take any steps. It was by day 3 when I was like, holy crap, I don't move anymore. The difference between me and a sloth is a sloth at least moves a little bit, right? And that
when I got my first one, my first pedometer is, I remember going on vacation the day after, right? And I was literally walking around the hotel. And then after I got my 10,000 steps, I look at the thing and says, but I didn't climb my 20 flights of stairs today. So I kept going up and down the stairs because God forbid I go one day without making the goal, right? And then the thing, what is the reward? It was like, ding, and a vibration. And it was like, there's my dopamine hit, right?
Yeah. You know, I started getting my steps, Will, by going outside because I'm like, I got to go outside and walk. And then I'm like, I'm already outside. I might as well hit these mountains that are 5 minutes away from me in my own backyard. Beautiful mountains that I'd neglected and never went into, right? Then I get into the mountains and I start breathing the fresh air, and that makes me feel good. And I'm associating all this positive activity to moving. And now I feel more centered. That's when I went back to yoga again. And now all of a sudden I can do yoga all the time. But it's how small wins lead to big wins. And everything that kind of that, but unfortunately you can't put that in a package and sell that very easily. But essentially, Experience Product does that. They package that up so you can hand deliver that to people and they can have experience with it and they can get it and they understand it. Now, I don't expect most of you to be able to sell your first product on a webinar with thousands of people listening and watching and doing this, that, and the other at the highest level where you can make $1 million. Like that's the ultimate potentially, right? But most customers, they start off in a situation where it becomes self-evident with the mission statement of the product. People say, I want to go on that journey. That journey is their equivalent of wearing a pedometer, essentially, right? A step counter. And then once they get in there, success becomes inevitable for most of them because they take one small step, they get rewarded. So they take another step, they get rewarded. They take another step, they get rewarded, right? And then you say, duh, it should have always been like that, right? You shouldn't get a reward when you finish the course. You should get a reward when you play the first video. And why don't we do that? I don't know, right? Why didn't they invent toilet paper when they invented the toilet? I don't know. It took them a couple 100 years later to invent the toilet paper roll, right? Seems obvious, but it wasn't. It never is. It happens or it doesn't. In this case, it didn't happen until recently. Now that it does, what are you going to do with it? I say you use it. Use it to make yourself a whole bunch of money. But the way you're making your money is that, you know, I hated that Zig Ziglar phrase, Will, right? If you help enough other people, and that sounds weird because the Zig Ziglar family brought me in to do a webinar for them, right? But I never really liked that phrase, you know, you can get everything you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want. Because I helped a lot of other people in my life. And all I got for it was the footprints of being a doormat and being stepped on, right? So I liked the idea, but I knew there was a little bit more to it than just blindly going out there and being a nice guy and just being helpful and useful. Because most people, they'll take everything you got and then ask for more, and they won't lose 1 minute of sleep at night over it, right? So the real question is how do you give everybody else what they want in a way that you actually are guaranteed to be rewarded? So you can be selfless in the most selfish way possible. And that's really what the Experience Product Masterclass does. Now, if you're just like I'm in it for the money alone, great. Experience Product Masterclass is going to fulfill your every need and desire. If you're on the other side, the more tree hugger hippie variety, where you're like, I just want to make the world a better place, man, right? You no longer have to be poor in order to do that. Some people think you have to be poor in order to do that. This is a way that has a positive double bind, as we call it in NLP. It allows you to uplift everybody while simultaneously uplifting yourself, right? But it has to be structured in order to do that. You don't know the structure necessarily of how that happens, but you know that if you apply it, that it will happen. And that's what's great about this. So you will simultaneously improve the value that you provide to the world while also making more money. Should be that way. Rarely is it that way, right? I mean, who's benefiting the most in this coronavirus crisis? The people that are already at the biggest advantageous stages, right? The rich have gotten richer at a higher rate during coronavirus than at any time in recent history. That's just the way the world is. There's no reason to get upset over it or to like stage a rally over it or a protest. That's just the normal course of events. That is how most of the world is run, my friend. When there's an opportunity of crisis, people will tend to exploit. And you don't want to be in a position where you can be exploited. That's one of the first reasons I had motivation to make money, right? Is if people are going to exploit, the easiest way I can stop that is not to put myself in a position to be exploited. So that's the first philosophy. But then the second philosophy is I don't have to exploit if I choose not to. That means my path may be different. And that means I have to figure out how to approach life by a different set of rules to get what I want. But how do I make that work? That takes an additional amount of creativity. And so that's why you don't often see it. So most people they can't do that. They can't exploit other people, not in any real way. And so they remain poor, unfortunately, because they don't know their way. Or they have to exploit people and maybe they get rich, but they still feel poor of spirit. And then there is the very, very rare instance where you have an alternative way to empower others that also enriches yourself. Everybody wants that. Everybody talks a good game about it, right? Everybody pretends that they have that. Dare I say they virtual signal that, right? But does it actually exist? Not really. Not very often. If it did, all those products that you bought that promised that would have fulfilled on it already and you wouldn't need me, right? This is the thing that really is the thing that is the thing. And that's Experience Product Masterclass. Will, do we have anything else to say, or is this it?
I would like you to close, since you just discussed sort of this topic. I would like to close, and I'd like you to repeat it a couple of times, the same exact words. And I want everybody to pay attention. Write this down. This is extremely profound. Jason, what's the best way to help the poor?
Not be one of them, right?
So repeat the whole sentence a couple of times. I want them to sink in through the power of your voice.
Yes. So I will do it a few ways. So the best way to help the poor is not to be one of them. The best way to help the weak is not to be one of them. The best way to help the scared is not to be one of them. The best way to help the poor is to be wealthy. Because nothing good I've ever seen came out of being poor. And I live poor. I know what poor is like, right? And that's when I made up my mind. And some of you know the story. Like not being able to go to the hospital because I inconvenienced my dad because I got hurt on a Sunday. And so unfortunately, my catastrophic accident and my blood and guts dripping out of my hand, I didn't time that event to happen within a schedule that allowed him to spend less money, right? That's what happens when you are poor. Poor of mind, poor of bank account, or poor of both. It's not a judgment on you, by the way. You are not a good person whether you are rich or you're poor. You as an individual are above whatever your bank account may say. There are many good poor people and there are many bad rich people, right? But it is a state of being that when you are poor, you lack choice. So even if you wish to help, oftentimes you can't. Or you can only do a poor approximation of what you would like to do, right? Now, again, you can have the choice and choose not to exercise it. A lot of you break my heart because you have the choice to buy EPM and you want to buy EPM and you see the value in EPM, but you choose not to buy it. And some of you will regret that choice later in life, okay? And that will upset me, and I'm sure it will upset you, but that's the way that the world works sometimes, right? But at least you have choice. So that's what that means, is the best way to help the poor is not to be one of them. Because, first of all, it's hard to give what you don't have, and now you have something to give that you didn't have before. But I oftentimes, if you're too busy thinking about how to make the bills get paid by the end of the month, that's a selfish focus, unfortunately. Now it's self-preservation, right? So I get it. It's not a judgment. I understand why it happens. But when you're so busy caught up in your own drama, and that's what happens when you lack funds, because again, I've spent more of my life poor than I have rich. When you're caught up in your own drama, that's the most selfish state of mind that you can ever be in. So the best way to be the best way to help the poor is not be one of them, because when you can escape your own drama, now you can help focus on beyond what you see in front of you, just beyond the now and the necessary, right? So sometimes people ask me, Jason, how can you sell the way that you sell? You sell pretty hard. And I say, thank you. I think it's a compliment, right? Because if I'm going to sell something I believe in, I don't want to half-ass it, right? I don't want to say, well, gee, maybe I'll jump in halfway to save that person's life, but I'll keep one foot on the sand anyway, because these are really good shoes and I don't want to ruin them, right? If I'm going to sell, I'm going to sell, damn it. Why not? I'm just going to find the best stuff to sell that I can possibly sell. So that's where that comes from. But it really comes from that sense of when you can be able to extend it beyond yourself. Is I want to give you a helping hand so maybe I can lift you up as somebody once lifted me up. And then maybe we can look a little bit further beyond that. Because I have found at the end of the day, my happiest moments almost always come when I observe somebody else and their happiness. This is why children are just so amazing when they're not crying and complaining and smearing their poop on the wall and all the other crazy stuff that they do. But see, I believe God made them in such a way that you will tolerate all their nonsense, because the one time a month they do something beautiful, it will pay for all the rest and then some, 1,000 times over, right? And I am most proud of not my own accomplishment, but the accomplishment that I see in others that I've either helped directly or indirectly, or just observed, like the beautiful parts of human nature. So beautiful. But when I was poor, even if they were unfolding in front of me, I very rarely was able to acknowledge them or see them or respond to them, because I was too in my own way. I was too in my own head. I was too worried about things that at the end of the day were of little to no consequence to the world at large. And again, I say that to you with all the care and love in the world. I hope that this doesn't come across as feeling insincere, because I know that I'm reaching some of you right now, and your situation is dire. It's tough, right? The money's not there, and you're working your ass off too. See, that's another misconception. I have found, at least in my experience, that the poor work just as hard as the rich do. Oftentimes they work even harder. So you're working your ass off. You don't have much time, and maybe that there's family conflict, because usually when there's poor, there's also family conflict, right? And so maybe that there's disharmony within the family, and maybe there's disagreements on these things, and maybe you want to be in agreement, but you can't because you feel like you're being pushed from all directions all at the same time, right? So I don't want you to feel like I'm not sympathetic. Well, I'm not sympathetic. I'm empathetic, right? Because I can understand how that's challenging for you, but I do not want to allow that to define you. So if you allow me to be direct with you, and hopefully doesn't offend you, so we can talk to each other, right? Is the challenge with that is if you don't do something to escape that, it will pull you under. It always does. And so my hope is that despite all of those things working against you, there may be something that I can offer you that can counteract all of those things, or at least get you some traction back in the right direction. And that's why I go to great lengths to make things like Experience Product Masterclass available to you. That's why, by the way, this is very important, I think, Will. That's why I don't send you to Marisa to sell you this product. Because I believe in it so much, I want to sell it in the way I know how to sell it, from my perspective, from my understanding. I want to be the detective that figures it out. I want to take it on. I want to take on the burden of figuring out and attempting to discover the very best way to put it in front of the very best people who this is the very best thing for. And, I could make 80% of the money if I just sent you through her sales materials. They're already created. They're already done, right? And I could work 5 hours on this instead of the 60 hours I work. Will's put in 60 hours. The team's easily put in more than that. We're on 200 hours of time, right? But this is why it's important to me. And hopefully that shows through to you, right? And that's why we do these things. And so I believe that the best thing you can do to help the poor is not be one of them. 2 ways directly, specifically with Experience Product Masterclass. 1, when you enrich yourself with what it's like firsthand to experience products in this fashion, not in the Candy Crush way, not in the Facebook way, you have to experience in this way by going through Experience Product Masterclass. Now you are not poor of experience when it comes to information products. You no longer have that anymore. And now guess what? You can help other people. In fact, you won't even consider motivation or willpower in the equation. You will feel compelled to help other people because it will hurt you not to help other people. And it will make you feel really good to help other people. And when it hurts you more not to help somebody else and get paid, guess what you do? You just help somebody else and get paid. That's what happens. And it feels good too. It feels better than doing nothing feels for you now. It feels better than keeping yourself in the comfort of not taking action territory and not putting yourself out there, right? This will simultaneously feel better than not doing anything. It'll feel great, and it'll be the most profitable thing you can do all at the same time. A lot of stuff is like, it feels icky to do, but you hope that the ends justify the means. That's most information products. That's most opportunity. And it's no wonder most people can't be successful, because only a sociopath can condition themselves to take action over and over again on things that don't make them feel very good to do. You have to be a special kind of person, or you have to be absolutely desperate in order to do that, which is why most people don't succeed, because they feel icky moving forward to do something. They want to do it, but they don't feel right doing it. And there's this internal conflict and turmoil that takes place. And yeah, no wonder why it's so hard. But what if it was every time you did it, you felt good doing it? Well, that's part of the gamification equation, which is a small part of a bigger piece of the equation, which is the Experience Product Masterclass. And so, yeah, I want you in it. I don't know what I got to do. I ain't going to stop, though, until the time runs out. That's a finish line for you, Will, right? That's the power of the finish line.
There you go. A power of a deadline, right? So, and here's the bottom line. There's zero risk for you. There's zero risk and all reward, because you can get into EPM, start experiencing EPM, figure out what it's about. And if for whatever reason you decide, I don't like this, I don't like to have great experiences or whatever, right? Then ask for a full refund by November 5th. You have until November 5th. That's almost a month. Not quite a month, but almost a month. November 5th by 11:59 p.m. Pacific, you can ask for a full refund. No questions asked. By the way, that is whether you log in and do the work. That's whether you don't do any of the work, you buy it and forget about it, and then 2 weeks from now you said, yeah, I'm going to go skiing instead or something, and I'm not going to do EPM. Whatever the reason is, right? Until November 5th. On top of that, if you do say to yourself, listen, I'm going to do the work, right? You have until November 10th to sign the legal guarantee agreement, which binds them to provide you with this guarantee. And then if you do the work and you don't make at least $2,000 by the end of the course, they will make up the difference. So let's say you just you sell $1 or $0. Let's say you sell $1 because your experience product is only going to cost $1. That's fine, right? They'll give you $1,999. If your product was $10, no problem, right? They'll make up the difference. So here's the beauty of it. No matter what happens, it's a free course to you. It is absolutely free.
Yeah.
Because if you go in and you learn and you make $2,000 or more, it paid for itself, which means the course was free. Now you get to use that knowledge and that experience for the rest of your life and make more money on it, totally free. If you don't make anything out of it, but you do the work, they'll give you $2,000. That means it was free.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest concern, Will, is that people think they're going to be successful. They're just going to be concerned how long it will take them. So they envision their success happening in years and years from now, or even at the very least, like 8 or 9 months. So it's likely that you're concerned, like, yeah, I think I'm going to make success, but I got bills to pay. I got to make money by the end of the month, right? Well, guess what? I mean, it won't be the end of the month, but you want to make money short term, this will get you there. So you're going to get over the finish line, and then you're going to make bigger successes in the future. But as I've shown you, and as you've seen in the testimonials, you will be surprised at how you undersell yourself and how much more capable you are than you think, simply because we're changing how you interact with things. We're changing how you engage with things. One of the very first things you do in EPM is she forces you to set your goal. I mean, I guess she doesn't force you, because you could always skip it, right? But then you miss out on that sweet, sweet XP.
Gotta have that XP.
It's really motivating, but you set 3 goals. You set like the stretch goal, you set the middle goal, then you set your bare minimum mission accomplished goal, or whatever they are. I'm not using the proper terminology now, because you'll have to forgive me. I'm 3 hours and 7 minutes into the webinar, right? But you set 3 goals. That's your mission accomplished. They track against that. You see that in your dashboard every time you log in. See, the dirty secret about this business is most courses don't want accountability. Because if customers knew how poorly they were doing, they would quit buying their products and they would ask for refunds more often, right? And Marisa, because she's changed the game, she loves accountability. I heard this guy. He's a guy named Keith Cunningham, and he's one of the 2 dads that the Rich Dad and Rich Dad Poor Dad was modeled after. And Keith's worth about $500 million these days, right? Fascinating business guy. And I heard Keith say once, he goes, you know who loves report card day? The kids who have A's, right? He goes, everybody else hates report card day, but the kids that have A's, they can't wait to show mom and dad the report card. They look forward to report card day. Now, in his context, he was teaching a high-end business seminar to people with many employees, talking about how you need to have accountability for your employees if you want to grow teams and all this esoteric crap that like 7- and 8-figure and 9-figure businesses have to deal with, right? But I think it works equally well in the Experience Product Masterclass is who's going to love getting measured? The people that are getting the A's, in this case, making the money online. That's who's going to love to be measured. And Marisa loves to measure that. Because of course she does, because she gets so much of the results. It becomes very powerful for her, right? I have never seen a course completion rate as high as Marisa's. I've never seen one as half as high as Marisa's. And so 80% of people almost complete the program, which is insane. That is insane. That is insane when the average rate is 2.7%. And she gets, it's technically 79%, which she gets to complete. But I believe it's going up every year, because every year she optimizes it even more, right? The very first time she did it, when she was making up the rules, 46% completion rate instantaneously, just like that. She didn't know what she was doing. She had to do it all manually. She did more wrong than what she did right, but she understood the bigger portion of it, which is the experientification of the whole deal, right? And that was the game changer. So I want you to do that. So if you come into this and you make your money right away, great. Make more than your money, great. Don't make your money, great. Because I'm confident you will still make your money and make lots of it. But in between, you got paid for your time, right? This is like if Candy Crush said to you, hey, listen, if you pass this level, we'll pay you $2,000. Instead, Candy Crush figures out every single day how to extract more money from you, not make you money. Facebook every single day figures out how to get you to stay on their platform. Because the more people that stay on their platform, the more advertising dollars that they can sell, right? That's their whole goal. So their whole goal is to monopolize your life at their own personal benefit. Marisa program doesn't have 56 upsells, downsells. There's a couple optional things that you can consider if you want more hands-on or more customization and kind of things like that. Take it or leave it. Doesn't really matter to me. I mean, on one hand, I hope you take it. I do get paid on those upsells as well. So that's nice. And I think that they're worth taking. But that's a whole separate conversation. That's not the point of this. It's not like every day she's getting you to log in so she can have you spend more money with her, right? That would defeat the purpose of this program. The thing is to get you over the finish line, to get you graduated, to get you successful. And then if you want to go into our higher level programs that exist, you certainly can ascend up the ladder. And a lot of people do. My philosophy and Marisa's philosophy are very similar. If I make you $1 million, it's a lot easier to get you to spend $10,000 with me. But if I make you no money, if I cost you money, then it's really hard for you to spend money with me. And so that's the same thing here. The way she goes about doing it is by producing results within the framework of the experience formula. I want you to be capable with that. If nothing else, it is another tool in your toolbox. It's another tool in your toolbox. I got a dog recently go down. He became paralyzed from the waist down. Big, fat, 82-pound German Shepherd. He's not really fat, but he's an 82-pound dog of dead weight, and he knows it, and he's stubborn, right? So they send me home, and they're like, the first people tell me, oh, you just use a towel on his hind legs. So you just put it up here, you lift him up, right? And then you could take him out like that. Yeah, I tried that, and he almost bit me because he's an old dog. He's like 12 years old, and he has hip dysplasia and all this other issues. So I go back, and then I buy this, like, sling. And it's padded and it's nice and it's got the handle, so that's supposed to work. I try that on him. We get it outside, but it was really hard. We were both upset at each other. We were sweating, at least I was, and we were frustrated, but we made it work. And finally, I was like, what do I do? So there's this harness that I bought. It's a rear-facing harness. It's a rear and front harness. It's $126. So it's a lot more expensive than a towel, right? I lock him in on that thing. Easiest thing of my life. And I'm marveling at how one simple tool made all the difference, right? Now I'm taking them out, I'm moving them around, I'm exercising them, I'm lifting them up, I'm cleaning them. I could do it with like 2 fingers. He's loving it. He thinks it's a game, it's fun, right? All because I had the right tool. That was the difference. Because I was trying everything else, but I bought the right tool, I got it done, and now it's the easiest thing in the world. And so I thought about that. I've been reflecting on that a lot lately. It'll become an email one day. I'll write it up and send it to you, right? But I was reflecting on how the right tool can make all the difference. There's no amount of education I think that would have helped me. Maybe a ton of effort. Eventually I could have figured it out, right? Or I just get the tool and I'm done. That's really what Experience Product Masterclass is the tool. It's done. You get it and it's just done. Now you have a tool that makes you super capable. That's the sprayer. Only you don't even have to learn how to use the sprayer in this instance, practically speaking, right?
That's a great analogy, Jason, because I have encountered so many situations where, if you don't have a screwdriver, you go get a knife and you try with a knife, but the knife doesn't quite do it. So you make yourself, you break stuff, you break the knife, you strip the screw head and in so many situations we do that. We try to use the wrong tool to do the job.
Yes.
And if you just have the right tool, it's incredible how easy and simple it is to get the mission accomplished, right?
That's so true.
I think if everybody thinks to a situation where they tried to use the wrong tool to get the job done, I think that's the perfect analogy, because I think every adult person has at one point or another used the wrong tool, knowingly the wrong tool, to do the job.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's even a matter of I don't want to walk across the house to get the right tool. But sometimes it's a matter of you have this internal conflict. You're like, I can drive down to Home Depot, but it's like 15 minutes both ways, and I got to buy this damn thing. I don't want to buy this thing. So I'll get creative, right? 3 hours later, you still haven't done it, and now you find yourself in the car driving to Home Depot anyway, right? I almost always regret not just taking the damn trip immediately, because Will is correct, is that you end up ruining the thing. You get frustrated. You start yelling and cussing, and then you still have to go and get the right tool anyway.
That's awesome. All right, Jason, thank you so much. We've answered all the questions. If you have any additional questions, if you have any issues placing your order or need any clarification on anything related to ordering EPM, write to support@rapidcrush.com. That email address again is support@rapidcrush.com, and we will reply to you faster than you can imagine a support help desk can answer. So we will get you the right answers and get you going. Remember, you have to place your order. You have to invest. You have to join before the timer hits 0. And the sooner you get in there, the more advantages you're going to have, because you can get started right away. When you join today, you can get started. You can get started earning XP, and you're going to have that enjoyment, that dopamine hit that will get you going and get you started. You're going to get that pick your product challenge right away, so that you can be ahead of the game when the live course starts on the 26th of October. And again, I say live, it's great if you can make it live. If you can't make it live, they're all recorded. And recordings are often better than live, because if you're a really fast learner, you can usually speed up the video and watch it faster, so it takes you even less time. I love doing that.
Yep.
If you're trying to follow instructions and the presenter says something that you didn't quite get or you want to hear again, you can always rewind. And it's impossible to do that when you're watching live, right? So sometimes,
yeah. So the course, the trainings, if I understand it correctly, they are released each week, and then the live component is the coaching options that you can show up to on the coaching as well.
and there's a kickoff call on the day.
And yeah, there are kickoff calls and celebrations and things like that too. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, Jason, thank you again. We are under 3 hours. No, we're under 4 hours. We made it past 3 hours. We're under 4 hours. So
we're about average on time now.
We're on average on time. All right. Very good. Thank you very much, my friend, and everybody for being here. Take care.
We'll talk soon.